The Giant awakens tonight. Don't worry, not a physical giant. Not the friendly giant. Well, I guess that'd be okay if the friendly giant awoke, because he'd be nice to you. The giant that, for many sports fans, will dominate your free time for the next few months, and for non-sports fans, will dominate the free time of your loved ones for the next few months. And, of course, we're talking about the National Football League kicking off tonight with the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens. We will have an NFL-heavy show. It's going to be fun. We'll feature a very prominent team and market in the league. I think everybody knows who that is. We'll take a look at some of the big storylines. We'll have some fun with our predictions. Guaranteed to be correct predictions, as I always say. Yeah. It's Austin Powers. Where's he? I'm in a glass case of emotion. Oh, no, he was in a nutshell. This is me in a nutshell. It was Will Ferrell that was in a glass case of emotion, I think, in Anchorman. I don't know. I'm mixing up my references. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the Edmonton Elks. They have the big game on Saturday against the Calgary Stampeders. Our Green and Gold kickoff show is 4 p.m. Saturday with this guy, Jay Milne, and Matt Owanek, who's our technical producer this afternoon. And then they'll have the Green and Gold postgame show after the Elks try to win against Calgary and sweep that Labor Day home and home. Okay, Matt, or Jay, well, and Matt, I don't...
let me just say something.
Yeah, who am I pointing to?
Well, we should be pointing at Matt. This is a big night. Matt is Mr. Baltimore Ravens, and
because he's a big Edgar Allan Poe fan.
Of course. Why else would anybody be a Ravens fan? But Matt, I mean, I'm nervous for you because...
Are you?
Yeah, I am. You should be nervous for you too.
I'm not.
Why?
Because they're gonna lose. Ravens are gonna lose. I already know.
That's you're doing reverse psychology.
No.
Yourself. We'll just mope around.
Yeah,
it's not that.
Oh, and then you can show up tomorrow. I can't believe they won.
They're the underdogs. Coolbet has them as the underdogs. They're not the team that's home. I don't know about their offensive line. I'm just good to start 0-1.
Well, I believe they would be the underbird. Quoth the Awanek, not a win. Okay, don't be alarmed, gentlemen. I looked up some fun facts about the mighty National Football League, which is, and I used to say this to Stoff when we were on together at Ched. You know, in North America, often it's still talked about. There's the big four: the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and the NBA. And I started to say, there's not a big four. There's a big three. And there's a gigantic one. And that is the NFL, which in the course of my lifetime just seems to grow in popularity and overall reach every year. I mean,
it's the king.
So we live in Edmonton. We have the Oilers, an incredibly popular NHL team. We have the Elks, a historical, still quite popular CFL team. We have a lot of other sports. But, you know, you go to somewhere on a Sunday that would play sporting events, you know, certainly a sports bar or even a casual pub type place or your Brewsters or whatever, they're going to have NFL on. I'm sure if you went to the Maritimes where they don't have the CFL or the NHL, people would be watching NFL. Like I think anywhere in Canada, it may not be the number one team in that city or the number one league, but it would be a lot of people's number 2 or 3. Like it just is everywhere. With how it's televised, with all the featured national games that aren't up against anything else. And then let's not forget, and we're going to talk about fantasy football throughout the show, though, and perhaps maybe we're going to do some lighthearted, different looks at fantasy football, which we're going to have fun with. But I mean, it's everywhere. If you can't really escape the NFL, though there are some people that might want to escape it, people who are tired of their spouses or boyfriends or girlfriends or friends being obsessed with the league, but you still can't really escape it. It's everywhere.
It's weirdos that would want to escape it, Reid. It's weirdos. Come on, what are we talking about here? The NFL is king. The NFL, you know, the CFL is Canadiana. So it's a part of being a Canadian. But overall, the NFL is king. I mean, just look at the simple rise of fantasy football, which we're going to talk about.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's huge. It's a big industry. Everybody does fantasy football. You do fantasy football. I do fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
Matt does fantasy football.
People are going to find out how I do it and be disgusted.
Yeah. They're going to be right up.
Sort of.
They're going to be upset with you. I am booking Matt. This will be the first time that you will be more upset with Reid than me.
Well, that'll happen a lot.
Not usually. Not usually. You're usually the darling of the show, I must say. But today you will be upset.
All right, here are the fun facts. And again, this is just based on some simple Googling, and some of these are estimates. Revenue last year. NFL revenue around $20.5 billion. Major League Baseball, $12 billion. NBA, $11 billion. NHL, $7 billion. So the NFL, basically $8 billion ahead of the next most profitable league when it comes to revenue. Generates over $20 billion a year. The most watched television broadcasts, these are American numbers, most watched television broadcasts in 2023, the top 14 were NFL games. So the Super Bowl that was included was Kansas City, Philly, not Kansas City, San Francisco, because that's still a 2024 game. So in 2023, the 14 most watched individual television broadcasts were NFL games. 20 of the top 21 were NFL games, and 28 of the top 30 were NFL games.
That's king.
That's king.
That's
Live
king.
sports. That's the National Football League.
Now, I mean, there is also a little bit of a change that fans should expect tonight to see. And if you haven't seen it through the preseason, I'm not okay, first things first. This is not an NFL, oh, look at us, we've changed the kicking game. This is an XFL
It's their idea.
that the NFL has now adopted as their own.
So for people on YouTube, we're going to put up some footage here, but we'll explain it as well. And yeah, I know a lot of people have probably already seen this, but this is a new NFL kickoff.
They call it the dynamic kickoff, where it's supposed to limit player injury, and essentially it's having the kickoff team and the kickoff return team line up 10 yards apart from each other. They cannot move until the ball carrier has received the kick.
Right.
And it's supposed to limit high impact injuries. But I think the main change here is just getting the ball in play on kickoffs.
Yes.
How many kickoffs sailed through end zones for touchbacks, and the ball would, like, why were you even kicking off?
Right.
I don't mind this for that reason. Is it going to change the injury? I don't buy it so much that this is going to limit injuries or reduce injuries. Guys are still going to get piled up on. You're still going to tear knees on this. Like, it's a football play. It's like trying to limit injuries in football plays. Well, they have tried doing that with eliminating hits to the head already. They've already eliminated the crackback block, which was the biggest, I guess, bringer of injuries to a kickoff and a kickoff return.
Matt, can you roll that again? So just this is off the Pittsburgh Steelers Twitter account, which is why there's Steelers logos, but it's kind of the best and most concise video. So yes, the players covering the kick and blocking on the kick will be nowhere near the kicker. He's going to appear to be all by himself. Well, he will be all by himself. And then there can be one or two receiving team players in the landing zone between the goal line and the 20. And then if they just pound the ball through the end zone, as they have been in recent years, the ball comes out to the 30 instead of the 25. Anything out of bounds or short of the landing zone goes to the 40, and you cannot try a short kick until the fourth quarter. So there will be no little trickery like, oh, we're going to do a short kick and try to recover it off the start of the game.
I hate that. I do not like that.
I'll miss that, those unexpected little
Well, they don't happen often, but when they do, I mean, that changed the course of a Super Bowl game.
The Saints did one in this
exactly against
Saints
the Colts.
Yeah,
right. That changed that totally changed the dynamic of that game, and I don't like that for that reason, that you can no longer surprise a team. But now that you have to indicate that you are going to do it in the fourth quarter, it's going to make the recovery more successful, given the setup that it has to be. on a short kick. You can only have 6 on one side, 5 or 6 and 4.
It's got to be even.
It's got to be even numbers, right? So it will make it, I guess, a higher rate of return, but in theory. But I do not like taking away the surprise element of a short kick.
Yeah. Well, look, if they get rid of the touchback in terms of there not even being a return, I think that's a good starting point. Whenever I would watch an NFL game with my dad, he would just be like, "This is so stupid. What a waste of time." Because the kickoffs, a lot of the kickoffs were going through the end zone. It wasn't as even as if the returner would catch it 3 yards deep and then think, you know what, I'm not going to run it out. I'll kneel down. He wasn't even touching the ball. It was just going through the end zone. So it was a non-play play. And a lot of people were saying, well, just give them at the 25. Don't even make people line up for the kick. Can you imagine like being on the kick cover team and your team scores 8 touchdowns? So they just blow out the other team. Plus they kick off to start one of the halves. 9 times touchback. So what'd you do today, Dad? Well, I ran down to the other team's 30 and then the whistle went because the ball was out of play.
But also imagine being a kicker and being told for your entire career to kick the ball as hard as you possibly could. And now having to get it and land it in the landing zone, which is from the goal line to the 20, to be returned. Otherwise, your team might get penalized. I mean, it's just gonna open up more rants and availabilities for rants for me to rag on kickers, I guess. I mean,
which you love doing.
It's a great pastime.
I think it's a good rule change. I'm willing to see how it works, and I've also become, as I've become a more seasoned individual, I've become more flexible with rule changes. I've totally moved off the, oh, well, how's that going to affect the records? Well, that's not how they've ever, why would they do that? Now I'm just, try it out. NHL 3-on-3 overtime? Well, it's been the best thing ever. Yep. I could have sat there and said, we'll never do that. Why have 3-on-3? You'd never get rid of 3-on-3 now. Try this. Maybe it's better. And if not, you can always go back. You can always change rules back. Who cares? And the NFL, probably of the 4 leagues we're talking about, well, the NBA did a pretty big thing about 40 years ago with the 3-point line. That was massive. But in terms of this, why not try it out? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't get the desired result, tweak it again. It's not a big deal. But I like that they're doing something so we don't see these non-plays with the ball going through the end zone.
Well, and if it allows the ball to be carried and a return to happen, then I think all in all, it's a win. Right? Because it's going to be more action. Now, the interesting thing to see is how special teams coaches actually game plan for this now, for having a 10-yard blocking scheme.
Right.
Essentially, that, guys aren't moving at full speed. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, it'll be weird to see, in general, but that's just because it's different.
Is some coach going to come up with some blocking scheme and then will the NFL say, well, we don't want that many long returns? Will they find a way to make it, quote unquote, easier to get a touchdown off a kick return? I don't know if they will.
My guess is that you will start to see players immediately motion as soon as their player catches the ball. So not just stand there and block the guy in front of you. Say, screw it. Leave the guy on the outside, have 2 players on the right, run down the line and go to the left side and try create some sort of a wall.
Almost like an offensive line blocking scheme.
Almost like a pulling guard.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I'd imagine that's already in the works. And Maddie's Ravens tonight might even get exploited by it.
Maybe they'll put Lamar Jackson on the kick return team. We are in the James H. Brown studio for the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them, jameshbrown.com today, and book your private consultation. Yeah, we'll have some Oilers stuff today, some Elks stuff, and a lot of NFL from a lot of different angles, I think some of which are going to be quite fun. And we'll bring you some. I mean, for the NFL, we're looking for the storyline. So we are going to go to Kansas City in a few minutes, and then we'll have somebody on from Pro Football Focus as well for some of the maybe bigger things to watch, and probably touch on the kickoff rule as well. I want to quickly get to something else here before we break. So yesterday was kind of weird because we actually got knocked off. Our broadcast got knocked off for a few minutes because we lost internet. There was something going on with the power. And there was a large swath of South Edmonton, kind of almost it wasn't even, but it was almost like a column down from the river
Central
down
South
Calgary
Edmonton
Trail. So And I talked to Connor Hood, the sports information director at the U of A last night, and he said, yeah, on campus there was like a weird sort of power bump and nothing happened, but then we were getting all these messages from South Campus, power was totally out, and that's what happened. We were about to have Chris Morris on. We went off air, and then when we were back on air, he had to evacuate the building he was in because they didn't have power. Bears Dinos tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Foot Field, by the way. So I Googled this morning, and I was like, okay, is there more on this? And it said there were stories that just said there was a repair issue. And I'm like, okay, this is creepy. I think it was electro draining the power scheme. But now there's an updated story that apparently the company, EPCOR said a falling cable at the Ellerslie substation was to blame. EPCOR spokesperson saying that dropped onto lines that were feeding power to 2 other substations at the time. Those lines tripped and caused the outage. But it appeared to cause... So Ellerslie is down there, south. I don't know which way south is from here. I think it's that way.
That way.
We're west Edmonton. Yeah. And something happened here that we think because it all happened at the same time.
Yes.
So it must have
gotta be a correlation.
So I'm less suspicious now that they gave a more specific update, but I'm still kind of like, what exactly happened here? This is my weird brain.
You still want to blame electro?
I want to blame electro.
I mean, it's totally plausible.
I'll make you come to Edmonton, Spider-Man. Now you'll be fighting on my terms. Here's a green onion cake in your eye.
Googling who is electro.
What's who electro is?
I don't have the foggiest clue.
Wanik, do you know who electro is? My lonely, lonely existence.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I know who he is now.
You can reach out and give us your thoughts on electro or the power outage, or like how I want to know. We can also ask, and we'll have an off-topic later as well. That'll be fun. How big is the NFL in your life or the life of your loved ones? And is there anyone in your life where it's like, my God, I just lose them during the NFL season? Like the games are I know most of the games are Sunday, but then I lose them Thursday night, Monday night. They're always checking fantasy football. You can tell us that as well. 780-218-9999 is how you text the Paris Jewelers inbox. You can jump into the nasty chat on YouTube. You can email Reid at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. We will go to Kansas City. Is Taylor Swift coaching the team now? What's going on?
I believe she's GM. Yeah, GM.
Here's Matt with a sports update.
NFL season kicks off in Kansas City as the Chiefs will play host to the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge off Fort Road. Kickoff of 6:20. Montreal Alouettes have placed wide receiver Austin Mack on the 6-game injured list just after 2 weeks after his return to the Canadian Football League. Toronto Blue Jays, they're off today before they open up a series in Atlanta tomorrow. 2 games already final in the majors. Twins got past the Rays of 4-3 while the Reds defeated the Astros 1-0. A couple games already underway. 4-2. Mariners have a lead over the Athletics. That one the top of the 6. Also in the 6 is 2-2 between the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Coming up next on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com will join the boys to talk Chiefs and Ravens. I'm Matt Awanek. You're up to date.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Lynyrd Skynyrd with like an angel band. and I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Esties, as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talk's incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Esties, September 17th.
This is if you like football. So I'll go farther into the future and work backwards. Obviously, there's a Monday night game on Monday. That's Jets and Niners. Ron Rodgers is back.
Huge matchup.
Sunday is a full day of NFL. Mm-hmm. Saturday there's a CFL triple header culminating with our Battle of Alberta at Commonwealth Stadium as the Elks try to keep pushing for the playoffs. Tomorrow night we got our Canada West game, Golden Bears Dinos at Foot Field, and of course tonight is the first NFL game of the season with the Chiefs taking on the Ravens. And we will go to Kansas City. Pleased to be joined by Matt Derrick, covers the Chiefs for Chiefs Digest. Matt, I'm Reid. He's Jay. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. Hopefully you hear me okay from the confines of the press box here in Kansas. It's, 3 hours before kickoff, and it is already busy here.
Well, I wanted to start there, and thanks for doing this on a night when you're going to be doing a lot of work and maybe be working late. I mean, tell us, and I know Kansas City and the Chiefs in recent years have hosted a lot of playoff games, and they've been a marquee team. What's the buzz like, though, for this season opener and sort of the feel going into this season?
Yeah, with this fan base, nothing gets jaded. I mean, there's nothing about celebrating back-to-back Super Bowl championships that gets old for this crew, and they enjoy their tailgating. So I can tell you, I got here to the stadium a little after 2:00. That's 5 hours before kickoff local time, and I think there were already more people here than there were for any of the preseason games. They were already tailgating. They're partying out in the parking lots. They're doing the rehearsals. They got the Super Bowl banners on the field. It's a special night. There's no doubt for the players, for the fans, for everybody in this organization. They still treat it very, very special and very unique. But there's also this, the team wants to move on. So the celebration on the field and the stadium is not going to be very long. I think they got about 2 or 3 minutes before it in the rundown. But there's no doubt this entire day in Kansas City is just kind of a celebration one more time of Super Bowl 57.
Well, and as you said, I mean, this is absolutely a 5-star matchup tonight, facing off in the exact same spot where Baltimore's season ended last year. The Chiefs are chasing an unprecedented 3rd straight Lombardi trophy. Never been done. Yet, I'm hearing buzz and rumors that this team is actually improved heading into this season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's going to be a different team. The question is, can they be the number 2, number 3 defense that they were last year? And can the offense improve? And I think that, I think the easy answer to that would be that the defense is going to have a small step back. It's just, how much of a step back? Can they still be a top 5, top 10 defense? Question is, how good can this offense be? Once Mahomes really gets familiar with all of his weapons and once they get healthy, I mean, they won't have Hollywood Brown tonight. That's really the key missing piece on the offensive side. But when they get Hollywood Brown, Shoe Rice, and Xavier Worthy on the field at the same time, we saw during training camp, this team is special. This offense is going to be a lot closer to the version you saw a few years ago when they had the likes of Tyreek Hill and you had Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson. You have those on the field with Travis Kelce. They can do some things. So there's no doubt. I mean, this has more firepower than this offense did a year ago. If this can be a top 5, top 8 offense and a top 5, top 8 defense, I think that's going to be hard to top this year.
Well, Matt, you just mentioned two people that I wanted to ask you about specifically in rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy. This is a speedy, smaller guy that can, like you said, take the top off. But is it ready to crown Xavier Worthy yet and put him in the same realm as somebody that you can see becoming possibly the next Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely going to have to earn it. He's going to have to show his way. You saw the seeds of it absolutely during training camp and preseason. This guy's a very good tracker of the football. He comes in with a reputation of being a hard worker, a tough player. He's going to have to be at his size. He's a little bit more undersized, but he's not as thick as Tyreek Hill was. They might be, and Xavier's a little bit taller than Tyreek, I believe, but Tyreek was certainly thicker. And that's something that Xavier's going to have to work on. But, with his speed, I mean, that 4.21 speed, that's what's going to probably, take some adjustment, and especially in the first game of the season. She's going to try and take advantage of that because the Ravens, they've seen fast guys, but it's the first game. You haven't seen that speed in a while, and you haven't seen Xavier's speed. So they're hoping to absolutely that's something that they could take advantage of on Thursday night. And if it's just one or two plays, they feel like that could be the difference.
Matt Derrick joining us from Kansas City from Chiefs Digest, setting up the Chiefs and the game tonight against the Ravens. Matt, a question I get asked a lot, having worked in this city for a while, is what's Connor McDavid like? What's it like to talk to Connor McDavid? So I'll ask you, what's it like to deal with Patrick Mahomes? I mean, he's always been great, but now he's a champion 3 times, been to another Super Bowl. He's one of the guys, if not the guy, who's become the face of the league, especially in this post-Brady type era. What's he sort of like on a day-to-day basis with his teammates when he's around you guys? Can you give us any insight there?
I mean, I think the best thing I can say about Patrick is he's just one of the guys. There's absolutely no doubt about that with this team. I mean, and maybe this team is a little superstar jaded. I don't want to go there necessarily with Travis and Taylor, but you've got that element of it too. But Patrick is, from day one, he's always been extremely well grounded, just down to earth. He's just as much to be, shooting hoops in the locker room as doing anything else. He's an ordinary guy. And that's the way that this team treats him, the way he wants to be treated. I think that's a big part of it. He doesn't want to be a standout. He doesn't want to be singled out in any way. And he really doesn't get that superstar treatment in his team. I mean, they consider themselves all one of the same. And he's ground for someone of his, celebrity and, that can't go a lot of places that most people would go. He's got to change his lifestyle, but he does seem like it's ever changed him. That's what's always really struck me about Patrick is that he's been around sports all his life, obviously with his dad being a Major League Baseball pitcher. So nothing surprises him. He gets it all, and that's rare. I mean, because you'll talk to a lot of that Patrick does, and sometimes he'll just get tired of it, but he doesn't. I mean, he seems to go through everything, puts up with the nonsense questions that we ask on a weekly basis with, humor and grace. And I think that's about the best thing you can say for a player of his stature.
Matt, you mentioned Travis and Taylor, and like it or not, that was part of the Chiefs' story of last season, is that Travis Kelce, who was already a very prominent player, got even more attention because of who he was dating. I would think that there might be some pro athletes that they couldn't handle dating someone else famous because of like all the attention and what it would become around them. Like he seems so outgoing and sort of jovial himself, and the relationship we see with his brother and all that kind of stuff. Like, is he the perfect personality of anybody to handle dating arguably the most famous celebrity in the world?
Might be, because you're absolutely right. I think it would probably make a lot of people's head spin, and they're not get overwhelmed by it. But Travis doesn't. I mean, and he's another the same type. He's a blue collar guy. I mean, just like Patrick is. he's got that mentality and comes across that way. So, there's certainly every once in a while you'll look at Travis, and I think there's even a bit of Travis in his mind that's just like, can't believe that this is where his life is right now. But at the same time, it's something that he's worked to make his life. I mean, he's always wanted to have a life outside of football. And I can't say that he always, predicted that he was going to be dating an international, pop star or anything. But he's always wanted, something more. And he's always been trying to work at it. And now it just seems to be all clicking for him. And so I think you got to be pretty happy for a guy that's worked as hard as he has to get to that point and shoot his shot, I guess you will, whether it's, with Taylor or TVs, movies, you name it. But he's living an incredible, charmed life right now, and it seems to be enjoying it. And his teammates are along for the ride too, and that's the great thing. I mean, they talked about Taylor making homemade Pop-Tarts for the offensive line last year. I mean, that's where we are with this team. That you have stories like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous on a day-to-day basis. But for these guys, it's just a Tuesday or a Thursday.
I want to ask you one more, and I think I got to ask about Andy Reid. I mean, we saw what he did in Philadelphia. I know they didn't win a Super Bowl while he was there, but they went. And now what's happened here with Kansas City, and now there's at least some of the stuff I see, especially when they won the Super Bowl. Where does he rank? Like, is he up there with Belichick or Lombardi or whoever you want to put in that conversation? But he's had a remarkable career. I don't know how much longer he wants to go, but I don't think he can understate the impact of Andy Reid on the Chiefs organization now.
Yeah, and he got asked again this week just about how long he wants to coach, and pointing to the fact that earlier this year he signed an extension that would keep him in Kansas City through the end of the decade, and he's willing to say that he'll get to that point and then see what happens. So he's not ruling out beyond 2029, but unless something changes, I think he's going to stay here for at least the interim. And why would you? We had a conversation with him, some of us writers, during training camp, and and he said he's talked to some of his colleagues about retirement and what it's like, and when they decide that it's time and everything. And and there's so many of his colleagues who would say, why would you even be thinking about it? You got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this isn't the time you talk about retiring. This is the time that you've been working your entire career to get to this point. So, I could certainly see Andy, sticking around till then. I know that he really loves his grandkids and he's got a lot of more personal things in your life. But yeah, this is pretty special. What he's done in this town. I mean, there's no doubt he turned this franchise around. This organization gives him all the credit as being the one that really, really brought things. I mean, Patrick took it to a whole other level, but there's no doubt. I mean, Andy Reid is a revered figure in this organization, in this town, for what he's done for this franchise.
Matt, thanks for doing this, especially on game day leading up to a game. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we can chat again. You mentioned that Mahomes, maybe it's tough for him to go out in public. If you want to laugh, if you didn't see, I don't know how closely you follow hockey, it doesn't matter. But
I know Connor McDavid.
Look up Connor McDavid trying to buy beer after they beat Dallas in the West Final. It was
that I can imagine would be interesting.
Check it out. Yeah, he had a tough time trying to get the beer into his car. Hey, thanks for doing this, Matt. Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the game.
Sounds great. Take care, guys.
Yeah, I'm glad we had Matt on, and Matt Owanek lined that up for us. Hey, Matt, thanks for actually doing some work. Give you a thumbs up. Yeah, it could have been another finger that he gave me.
I did something today. I didn't do one thing.
Like, to me, of course, there's a lot of NFL storylines, and I know our audience is different. There's a lot of different things in the NFL, but to me, that's the team. They've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 total. They lost the other one to the Bucs. Didn't have a good day in that Super Bowl. But to me, it's Mahomes' league now for quarterbacks. So that's the position that's always going to get it. Like it or not, I know some people got sick of the Swift-Kelsey stuff, but that's part of his story. And I liked Matt's answer that he's got the personality to handle it. And I love the Taylor Swift made the team Pop-Tarts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to. Was it Pizza Pops?
Did he say Pop-Tarts or Pizza Pops?
It was, I thought, Pop-Tarts.
Okay.
Pop-Tarts.
Anyway.
Okay.
But to me, that's the team, and we're going to do our predictions later. I think the Chiefs are going to do very well this year because nobody's proven consistently they can beat them.
Well, it's at the point now where you cannot not include them in a playoff run.
Right.
I mean, last year they had a mediocre regular season, but they got into the dance, they got into the playoffs, and went on a run. Mm-hmm. I mean, who's to say that this team can't do that again? And, they've got Isaiah Pacheco back. Their running game's going to be as solid as ever. The concerns would come on the defensive side with Kansas City. I mean, on Matty's Ravens, the current concern comes on the offensive line side of things. Well, that's the opposite. So that should be an interesting matchup tonight, but Matty's already conceded defeat tonight. So, I mean, at this point, it's
This is also not the place they lost the AFC Championship game last year.
Why not?
It was in Baltimore. Yeah, it was in Baltimore. That's fine.
Oh, Matt, hey, I'm going to note that down for the end of the show for my screw up.
You got one. I just find them, I mean, they're a great team, but the way Mahomes plays with the no-look passes and the underhand passes and Andy Reid is just enables him. Like he's not like he's one of the. I mean, is he the oldest coach now that Carroll's retired? He'd be up there, but he doesn't. He's like, go do it, kid. Like, go do it. Like, get the ball to these guys. They do creative things, and he just kind of. And I think you have talent. You got to turn it loose. And to me, Mahomes is. I know Jackson is exciting. I know Allen is exciting, but to me, Mahomes, it's like, how is he going to beat you? How is he going to beat you? Is he going to throw it behind the back? Is he going to throw it left-handed? He threw it left-handed. He's just fun to watch. And I know there's probably people out there who don't like the Chiefs or their favorite team has lost to the Chiefs, but I just think he's an incredible talent. I think Kelsey's an incredible talent. His whole story is fascinating. I mentioned the brother as well, their personality when they do their podcast. So I just think that's the team to talk about. Like, for years, you talk about the NFL, you immediately talk about the Patriots. Well, now, in my mind, you talk about the NFL, you immediately talk about the Chiefs. How are they going to do? They got the star power. They got the marquee players. I mean, talking about how come so they had a 4th and 1 in overtime against the Niners to keep the season going. Mahomes around the ball. Remember, little run around the right end. You keep 100%. The ball in his hands, and then he keeps taking down. Like he is the guy right now.
Well, Reid is 66 right now. With this new extension, it could take him to 71.
Amazing.
And kind of the belief is if he coaches 270, he will break the all-time wins record for a coach in the NFL. And that would be outstanding. I mean, Andy Reid's a likable guy. I don't know if you could, unless you are in that division or, you know what I mean? But that's a likable guy. He likes cheeseburgers. I mean, how can you not like a big, jolly, round guy that likes cheeseburgers? I mean, come on. He's a likable guy.
That's when you put it that way. Forget about his play calling and play design. He likes cheeseburgers.
He's like a fat jughead.
All right.
Who doesn't like a good cheeseburger?
We're just getting rolling here on the RW show with Jay Millen. I got the off-topic topic is going to be when we get back, we're going to have because I said earlier in the show, we realized that for people who aren't big sports fans or aren't big football fans, they could get annoyed by the prevalence of the National Football League. So we're going to have some recommendations on how to get the non-NFL fan at least somewhat interested or involved in the NFL. But first, Matt with a sports update.
NFL season gets going tonight out in Kansas City as the Chiefs, they'll hoist their banner and then play host to the Baltimore Ravens. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. You could go watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, just off Fort Road. Kickoff 6:20. In the Canadian Football League, the Montreal Alouettes announced that receiver Austin Mack has been placed on the 6-game injured list with an ankle injury suffered in practice yesterday. Toronto Blue Jays, they're off today, but they'll open up a series in Atlanta tomorrow against the Braves. 2 games already done in the majors. The Reds shut out the Astros 1-0, while the Twins got past the Rays 4-3. 2 other games underway, both in the 7th inning. Mariners lead the Athletics 4-2, while it's 2-2 between the Giants and the Diamondbacks. Coming up next, more of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. I'm Adam Wanek. You are up to date.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot.
but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088. Or go to jameshbrown.com.
Chosen few, so you subdue the truth with proof that only suits your views and divide us into groups, because you know that's how we use.
Hope you're having a great afternoon. We're with you until 6 o'clock. Coming up after the show today on Edmonton Sports Talk, the Turf District podcast, going to be 6 to 7. They are going to have the Vodrick Bynum from the Elks on the show, and they're going to have their tailgate menu for Saturday. And the message I got was people will know what we mean if they know.
If you know, you know,
if
Maddie.
If they don't know what they mean, then I guess they won't know.
Well, I mentioned it on the Hangout today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Well, because the Turf District, they air their show live Tuesday nights on
right,
YouTube.
But we're having it on tonight.
And we're playing
so
it
I'd give
tonight.
them a little plug.
So.
Okay.
No,
this is the burger challenge? Or is this the...
But they're not doing the burger challenge.
They're doing the chili.
By the way...
the chili cook-off's another day. You're completely off.
I'm confused.
You're completely off.
Sorry.
It's a very fun one.
Did the air conditioning just go out again? There was a hum, a mechanical hum in the office.
I can run in there and
so that's
do that.
what happened. That's why we didn't have air conditioning on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. What was yesterday? No, we didn't have it Tuesday. A breaker.
Well, yesterday they came and fixed it. So we didn't have it Tuesday.
Who's they?
Some electrician or something.
Guy.
Some guy that walked in the middle of the afternoons with Hernan and Gager.
Oh, right.
And Dusty walked him in. I thought he was here to pick up a prize.
I was confused too.
But it's right in there. There's a door over there.
Well, I can show you. I could go to this other camera shot.
Yeah, it's right in here.
On those on YouTube, in that room.
So the whale and the wolf live in there.
Yeah. Hi, guys. We don't want to show
Then that's
them.
where the air conditioner is.
Yeah.
Sorry, the switch for the air conditioner.
Well, that's
something
where a bunch
shut
of
off.
things.
Something shut off, and now I'm alarmed that
I'm pleased to announce that there is no breaker that is tripped.
Okay, because I'm worried Electra's at work in
But
our
yesterday
office.
nothing tripped. They reset it, so they shut it off and turned it back on.
Well, I can
that
do
always
that
works.
as
Yeah,
well.
but you know which one it is.
It's labeled.
Is it?
I didn't check, but I'm sure it is.
I'm a little worried.
It's just a power box.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Shutting off the power while we're on the air.
Well,
from
my
6
dad
to
was an
6 now.
electrician, and he always said if you're going to do anything in the electrical box, you turn the other way. So if you're flipping a breaker, you turn the other way because it could arc something.
Oh, okay. All right. Anyway, I think we're all safe. We don't think Electra is here. I dressed up as Electro once and stood on 109th Street. It was quite.
I do have a question from the Paris Jewelers inbox for you, Reid.
Hit me.
Somebody was asking specifically which Electro you were referring to. Was it the Jamie Foxx Electro or was it the old cartoon Electro?
The comic book Electro.
That's what I thought.
It was not the Jamie Foxx Electro. That movie was not good. And no, not the Electro from the Spider-Man animated series.
Okay.
Electro from the actual comic book.
Yes. Good
question.
Yes.
Good question. But
and there was just, I don't want to get off topic before we get into your off topic topic.
We can have lots of off topics.
But, and we can get into this with Don, but there was two people that were asking this at different times. Kids 12 and under get in free for the remainder of the 2022 season with an adult ticket as well, right, Maddie?
Did you hear what you said there?
Kids 12 and under.
Go before that.
He said 2022 season. He meant 2024, Mr. Persnickety.
Well, is he reading an article from a different year? That's what I'm worried about.
I am.
Yeah.
I may be totally wrong then. Maybe that's why the link didn't post. You know what?
That's why I was pointing out the year because yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the Elks there have been a few years where they've announced
we'll be finding out.
Somebody was out. Okay, Evan Dom's going to come on. We'll get it straight from him.
Get everything straight out.
Somebody was asking about it. So maybe they heard about it. Look, I'm just trying to help.
Everything's going to be fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything is going to be fine. Gosh, probably.
Up to 2 youth tickets get in free with every adult ticket purchased for this game coming up against the Riders.
Good. Okay,
good.
Or not against the Stampeders, because this is the back to school type game and stuff. The Kids Get In Free initiative is part of the club's ongoing effort to ensure that football is accessible for everyone.
So I was directionally correct.
Okay. And Trey Ford will do your homework at halftime.
Yeah, because he's not doing anything else.
Not doing anything else. Oh, my. All right. So, I'd like for people to feel good. I want people to feel included. Oh, the mechanical hum just returned.
Yes.
I want people to feel that when they come to work, there's camaraderie. And there's things to talk about with your colleagues. And I think sometimes if you're in an office, whatever your work environment is, I'm saying office, but I'll use that as a generic term for work environment. Sometimes you may be in an office and everybody likes a sport and maybe you don't, or you don't know as much about it. And you feel either left out or intimidated. And then I think it is on the other people to maybe try to include you a little bit. So we were talking about fantasy football. Now, there are other ways to do pools that might involve somebody making picks, picking teams or players, and maybe even have the opportunity to win a little bit of money, but you don't have to know who the third string running back is on every team if the top two get hurt, and you fix your fantasy team. So I looked these up and have some, and then
I have one that's going to blow your
mock
socks.
them or perhaps not.
No.
Some of them are maybe not so great.
I think yours are ones that are practical.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, for several years, with my mom and dad, who like sports for sure, but they're mainly Oilers, Elks, U of A. But we watch Seahawks and stuff, and the NFL is so prevalent. So for a few years, with my mom and dad, we've been doing a loser pool. So we don't do week 1, and now we don't do week 18. So we do weeks 2 through 17. So you pick 2 teams a week to lose. And once you pick a team, you can't pick them again. So you got 32 teams over the 16 weeks between weeks 2 and 17. You pick your team to lose, and then you can't pick them again. So it's a survivor pool type thing, except we do every week. So maybe there, and also I was thinking too, you need to bring people into the sport and, again, make them feel like they don't have to know everything. But they might be able to beat the people who do know a lot about the NFL. An example I have from a different sport is NCAA basketball pools. Fill out your bracket. You give that to somebody who's not a basketball fan. What are they going to say? I don't follow basketball. But the beauty of that is you can say, you know what? Nobody does. Or very few people do who are going to fill out this bracket. It's $10. And it tells you which team is expected to win by the seeding, and you can fill it out. So my buddy's been doing a pool, an NCAA basketball pool, since we were going to Nate together in the late 90s. There was a woman in the class who I still know because she's working at Ched, who didn't want to fill out the pool. And we said, just fill it in. You know, and she either won or finished second or something, and now she's in the pool every year. So we need something like that for NFL people. So the simplest one is just pick a team to lose, the survivor pool, right? Or pick a team to win. You're just going to have to pick one team per week. That's the way to bring somebody in. Because then even if somebody says, oh, I don't know anything about the NFL, we say, you know what? All you have to do is pick one team. And then all on Sundays, you just have to pay attention to that one team. You don't have to follow 14 games and watch the Sunday Nighter. You can just look at the app or online after the game. That's the very easy one right here.
And then, but you cannot choose the same team twice.
Yeah, that could be explained to them throughout the season. But that just gets them involved.
Sure.
And there's always upsets. So again, that's not going to me, that shouldn't be intimidating to somebody. And there might be Jerry down the hall who has a spreadsheet and all the predictions, and that new person might last longer than Jerry just because it's simple and it gets them kind of interested. Here's an interesting one, and I'm not sure I like this one, but here's an idea that I read online. You either allow somebody to pick a team or even do a random draw each week. If your team scores 33 or more points, you get a point. If they don't, you don't get a point. And then the person who has the most at the end of the year wins. But again, that's a way to get a simple way to get somebody involved with the rest of the office or the family or whatever. Oh, I don't know anything about football. Hey, it's okay. Just pick a team, and if they score more than 33 points, you get a point. If they don't, that's okay. That's a hard number to get to.
It's an odd number. It's a weird
33
one.
or more.
I found one that's going to it really suits me.
Okay.
This is one I might actually do in this office.
Okay.
It's called the Kickers Miss League.
Of course. Okay.
Okay. Here's how it goes. If you miss from 30 plus yards, missing is good. If you miss from a kick 30 plus yards, you get 1 point. If you miss from less than 30, you get 2 points. If you make a 50 plus yarder, it's negative 1 point. So the goal here is to cheer for the worst kickers. I mean, if you had Boris Beatty on your roster earlier in the year, this would be outstanding.
So do you make people just take a team, or do they have to learn the names of the kickers?
You have to be invested in the kickers.
You have to know the names of the kickers.
Yes.
Okay.
So whereas we're going to see two of the top kickers in the NFL tonight,
right?
You're probably going to want to draft them later down. That's not bad, though.
That's not bad. I mean,
because you could take really any, you don't have to know much. And I would, it would actually be better if the less you knew. And you just tried picking off somebody's name.
Well, that's fair. And that's kind of the point of what we're talking about here is how do you make somebody feel involved without them having to learn the name of every NFL player? So they look up some kickers, or they just say, okay, this guy. Oh, so who kicks for Dallas? I'll take that guy.
Well, and then if in that case, Reid, then yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you just the team name.
Right.
So if you like the Cowboys, okay, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Yeah. Because I think what you would need is what I'm thinking is everybody shows up Monday morning. So say there's an office of 15 people, and 12 people love the NFL and they watch all the games. And everybody first thing Monday morning is talking about, my fantasy team. And those other 3 people are, look at everybody chatting, and we're here all by ourselves sipping our coffee and working on our spreadsheets. You want that thing where it could be like, oh my God, Dan, like,
your kicker missed.
Your kicker missed. You see that Bengals kicker he missed? And Dan's like, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I've never watched NFL highlights before, and I watched yesterday, and my kicker missed it. I get a point? Dan, you're in first place. It's like Deborah's in 18 fantasy leagues and could list every player in the league. You're beating her, Dan. You're in first. Like that's to me, that creates
the randomness
and gets somebody involved and gets people excited about a sport they might not, or a league they might not otherwise care about.
It's kind of one of those ones where you don't need to know much.
Yes.
Like we fill out the NCAA bracket every year, and yes, you follow it from a 10-mile view, but Do you know if Akron's going to beat, Miami of Ohio in the 12-5 game? No.
It's all a best of one.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And speaking, I gotta give a little bit of a shout out because this is still on. But my Edmonton Wildcats are running a pool, an NFL Survivor pool, free to enter.
Oh, can I go in?
Yes. So if you go to EdmontonWildcats.com,
I'm banned for some reason.
And you click on Get Involved, then you go to the Wildcats NFL pool. It's a Survivor pool, no entry fee, and there's a $500 guaranteed prize. So if you just want to have something that you don't have to put any money into, just want to have some extra fun on a Sunday or throughout the week, check it out, EdmontonWildcats.com.
What do I click on once I get there?
Get Involved.
Oh, there it is.
And then Wildcats
NFL pool. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe Maddie can throw the link up. And, it's they used to do one that was a lot more, there was entry fees and da-da-da-da, but just with the rules associated with it, they can't do.
And that's what I mean, because I'm always, and we're going to talk about fantasy football and some of my habits or bad habits in the next segment.
Yes, we are.
But even as someone who likes sports and has been lucky enough to do sports talk shows for a good chunk of my adult life now, I still always marvel at the people who, I'm in 11 NFL pools and 8 hockey pools and 4 baseball pools. And I'm like, what else do you do?
It's a lot.
So that's why it's nice to have something. Hey, you know what? Pick a team.
It can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Pick a team.
And
that's right.
And that's, to me, that's the great thing about the NFL pools too. If you have that person in the office, I don't know anything about the league. You can say to them, you know what? There's 16 games this week. 10 of them are pick'ems, and there's usually 2 or 3 upsets. So nobody's going to laugh at your pick because anything can happen. And I think that's sometimes too what is intimidating for those people who you might want to try to draw into that office or sports environment. It's not that they're necessarily afraid of being wrong. They're afraid of being laughed at by the other people. So that's why you got to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we're making, but nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. So
it's there. And hey,
pick a team to lose.
If you're in the nasty chat, Matt has put a direct link up to do that. I mean, there's nothing attached to it. It's just
there's
simply
there's
just
200 people in it already.
Yeah, I'd imagine for free.
Well, I mean, it's also just like bragging rights of beating like 200 people.
Right. Like I'm taking off and taking away the CFL pick'em pool that we're in.
I mean, you think you're taking off?
I'm first place.
Huss just got a 4-0 week. He's right there.
And he's still 3 games back of me.
It's not 3 games, is it?
Something like that.
I don't think so.
I
thought he closed.
I thought he was 25 and something.
Let me just pull it up right now.
So there's a little
He's
league.
one back of you.
Is he one back? Okay,
You're
I must be
28.
thinking
He's
last
27. Week. Myself, Remus, and Dusty are 24. Lucas is 22. Gazzola's dropped to 21, and Zach's at 19. But he's like not even picking anymore.
I'm going in the pool as we speak.
Okay.
All right, we're going to have my top 3. And it's going to be the... by the way, this what we just gave you was our off-topic topic.
Yes, it was.
Of ways to get people involved in your football pool, presented by William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. Annoying fantasy football habits when we get back.
Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store at 6736 99th Street or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
NFL season kicks off with Kansas City hosting the Baltimore Ravens. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day. Kickoff is 6:20. Montreal Alouettes announced today that wide receiver Austin Mack has been placed on the 6-game injured list with an ankle injury suffered in practice on Wednesday. Toronto Blue Jays are off today before they open up a series in Atlanta tomorrow against the Braves. 2 games already final in the majors. The Reds shut out the Astros 1-0, while the Twins got past the Rays 4-3. 2 other games underway, both in the 8th inning. Mariners have a 4-2 lead over the Athletics, while it's 2-2 between the Diamondbacks and the Giants. This EST Sports Update, it's brought to you by Sit and Sleep. The wait is over. Sit and Sleep is now open. Celebrate with 20,000 square feet of savings on the trendiest furniture, home decor, and mattresses. Apply for your Sit and Sleep card today to make no payment for 18 months interest-free. Join them on location Saturday to celebrate Sit and Sleep's grand opening in South Common next to Planet Fitness. Coming up next, it's the start of Hour 2 of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
Thank you, Matt. Are you sure you don't like Edgar Allan Poe?
I never said I did or didn't. I will say that. You never actually asked me.
No, but you seemed befuddled when I said that you liked Edgar Allan Poe, which is why you cheer for the Ravens.
It is not why I cheer for the Ravens, and I'm not. I'm not in favor, a fan, or not a fan of him. I'm indifferent.
You just need to be read more Poe.
It's been a long time since I read a little bit of Poe.
I've never read any Poe. But
you didn't have to do it in high school or something?
No, I didn't have to do Edgar Allan Poe in high school.
I believe I did.
What was the name of his book? Like it was about the birds.
The Raven. It's a poem.
The Raven. It was a poem.
There was a Simpsons episode in which they did the Raven with Bart and Homer on Treehouse of Horror, one of the Halloween episodes. Do you remember that one?
Yep.
He's so disgusted with everything.
No,
Matt. I remember.
Little
Why are you talking about?
No, the reason he's saying it with such, I guess, softness is because he's actually a Simpsons mega fan.
I'm so glad that you're bringing some Simpsons references.
Well, I don't watch it anymore, but like seasons 1 through 10, incredible.
That's all you need. I need to watch some of the newer ones because I've heard they're better. And anytime I have watched it, they're not bad. They're just not as good as they once were. But those references, myself and Lieutenant Eric will make those references all the time.
The doctor said I wouldn't get so many nosebleeds if I just keep my finger out of there.
Rob Wiggum, he's the best.
He's got so many.
Hey, thanks for checking out the show. This is episode 3 of the show. So excited to be here. Edmonton Sports Talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every weekday. We got your Elks pre and post whenever they play, so 4 o'clock on Saturday. Are you guys at Century Casino on Saturday?
We are.
Or before and after the game?
Prime rib sandwich on special.
Ooh,
nice.
nice.
So is the cheese and jalapeno smoky for the game day special.
And we both have. I think we had like a bit of a moment last game where we were like, the food here is just. Your parents came last game and you guys shared the family size nachos. Smoked brisket on them, and of course your mom. She's such a sweetheart. She demanded I come and have a plate of them as well, and they were lovely.
There's nothing wrong there. That is just a legit thing. Some people are like, you guys are sponsors. No. I challenge you to go to Centric Casino and find a menu item that you don't like.
That's awesome.
Because then I will have it and see if it's the same. I challenge people to go do that.
All right.
Prime rib, delicious.
Yeah,
Delicious.
prime rib's good. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. You can jump into the nasty chat on YouTube. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. Anything you want to get to right now, or do you want to save messages for later?
We can carry on, Reid.
Okay.
We can carry on. I just want, I hope you are ready for the backlash. I hope you're ready for the backlash.
All right.
Reid.
We are going to do, every day we're going to be doing a Reid's Top 3 presented by Food Sausages. The best sausages you will ever eat, locally made, packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount. That's right. 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or just mention Edmonton Sports Talk in the store. Free delivery in Edmonton on orders over $100. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. So, we're talking about the NFL a lot today. We're talking about fantasy football. So I have the top 3 most annoying fantasy football owner habits. So maybe you're in what are most fantasy football leagues? 12 or 14 people probably? Maybe 10?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
10 to 12, I think, is the standard.
One thing I've noticed about Matt, he is so confident with everything he says.
Yeah, I think the standard league
okay,
would
Matt,
be 10
there's
to 12.
no leagues with 14 people.
I didn't say there's not.
Mine is. My league's a 14 league.
I'm saying the most common ones will be 10 or 12.
Okay, fair enough, which
They're
is
the
what I
most
was
common.
saying.
Yeah, the most common will be 10 or 12.
And you know what the most annoying thing is, Reid? He's usually
know-it-all
right.
owners? Oh,
he's usually right.
Fair. Yeah, I noticed it. He's a pretty thorough young man. All right. So now, I should preface all this by saying that despite working in the realm of sports, as I've gotten older, for whatever reason, I've become less interested in fantasy sports. Maybe it's just I've gotten cheaper, or
count me in too.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I almost at this point could care less.
And I'm even older than you.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing you have to remind yourself to do every week.
And maybe maybe it's just I'm a little cheap, and it's like, well, even if my team is good, I might not win money, and I'm just donating money, or it might be a little bit the time commitment, or you have a bad year and you think, oh, I don't want to come back in this league. So, for a variety of reasons, I now participate in one fantasy sports league. Until a couple years ago, I was doing 2 NFL and 1 hockey. I dropped out of 1 NFL and I dropped out of the hockey one, so I just do 1 fantasy league that I pay for. I paid my dues today. It's $75, and I'm like, geez, I could get a nice board game for $75 because I never do well in I won this league once, like in the 3rd year I was in it. I've probably been in it close to 15 years now. I rarely even make the playoffs, and the top 8 out of 12 get in. So I'm donating money at this point.
Are board games actually $75?
Board games range from $50 to $150. If you could spend $200 on a game.
Are you kidding me?
Some of the more the nicer, higher produced in detail games, yeah.
What's Monopoly worth nowadays?
Oh, Monopoly wouldn't be that much.
Okay, so what's a $150 board game?
Well, if you wanted to get something like I'm trying to think of a big production like the latest Hoplomachus game would be up there. Like I play some really nerdy games.
Okay, well,
even a game like a Feast for Odin would be $100. Like there's a lot of components. They're well produced. Yeah, someday I'll do my top 3 board games.
I think we gotta. This is a topic
to get like a nice board game. $80 would not be out of the question. I don't know. Monopoly probably wouldn't be that much, and you could get smaller little
$21
card
at Walmart
games.
right now.
What's that?
$21 at Walmart right now.
21 for Monopoly. Yeah. What would a Feast for Odin be on Amazon? It'd be at least 90.
What is it called?
A Feast for Odin. There's like one person listening right now, like, oh yeah, Reid, no, that's good. Everybody else is like, what are they talking about? Where's Odin? Isn't that Anthony Hopkins?
On Amazon, Oh, is this it? Just want to double check. A Feast for Odin on Amazon is $125.
Oh, it's that much, eh? Okay. All right.
And just to get back to fantasy, Dan Spence
Which we are going to get to.
in the nasty chat. He says, "I've officially retired from all fantasy sports. It feels good." Not
see,
going
it is
to lie.
almost like untethering yourself from something
Yes.
that can be a little constricting.
From a big commitment.
Yes, it can. And that's what I was saying earlier. I don't understand how people do 8, 9, 10 teams. And to me, it's almost like betting on both red and black in roulette. You're going to lose one bet, and if 0 comes up, you lose both. And so in fantasy football, it might be like, oh, I got Patrick Mahomes on 3 of my teams. Okay, but you're probably playing against him in a couple of your leagues, so you can't win all your games. But anyway.
I'm just amazed with all these different board games that are coming in on the Paris Jewelers inbox that I've never heard of.
Oh, like what? This is exciting.
Yeah, Doomhaven from Raider Jesse.
It's Gloomhaven.
Or no, he said Gloomhaven. He even did that.
Yes,
Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven's a massive game, yeah.
Mansion of Madness.
That'd be an expensive one. I don't have that one. That'd be
Power
expensive.
Grid.
Power Grid's been out a while. Yeah,
There's one here that says this
more of
board
a
game is
classic
called
now.
Reid is awesome. Oh no, that's just a statement. Excuse me.
Thank you.
Scythe.
Scythe is a big. I've played the campaign of Scythe, the 8-chapter campaign. I played that with a buddy.
Terraforming Mars,
great game. Yeah.
This is fun.
I don't know if that one would be over $100, but it would be probably 80, 90-ish.
Phil from a balcony in Banff says you can spend a lot of dough on D&D tokens and icons.
Yeah, see, I am not into and never got into D&D, but I know people who play D&D, and it's ongoing. Magic the Gathering.
Owen James, Twilight Imperium is up there for
That's
price.
one of the granddaddies. Yeah, that's I don't have Twilight Imperium.
$220 on Amazon.
Yeah, I've never played Twilight Imperium, but I believe Twilight Imperium, if you play it, you got to get 3 or 4 friends, and you're playing all day, 6 to 8 hours.
Rip City Step, EST Game Night with Reid.
Could happen.
What a stream that would be.
I'd have fun organizing that.
I would dress up as your
You could dress up as a meeple.
what if you describe what a meeple is to me? I'll dress up like
I am thrilled that many people wrote in that many board games. Now I feel like I can go down that path and people will get the references.
Reid, I'm quite certain
I feel like
you
the
can go down
Electro
whatever
stuff,
path.
I feel like the Electro stuff fell flat.
I kind of think like that's the kind of the neatness of you, Reid, is you're able to go down these paths with certainty.
Well, you call it neatness. Some people have called it other things.
The GOAT is this comes in on the nasty chat. Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh. Y-U-G-I-O-H.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yu-Gi-Oh. It's
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Not, it wasn't a board game. It was. Is that
an app?
Well, it was kind of like Pokemon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gotcha.
If I'm not mistaken. That was when I was a kid. That was out there. Maybe there's board game versions of that.
There could be sometimes.
But
they
I
adapt
felt like
stuff.
it was always connected to the Pokemon. Like it was that similar vintage.
Yeah,
lot of board games.
Gloomhaven's a very. I don't have the big box Gloomhaven, but it was a massive box. I believe it was a 100 chapter campaign. So the amount of people who have bought Gloomhaven and finished it, the percentage would probably be under 10%.
Now, is this like Dungeons and Dragons-esque? Like you say,
Gloomhaven
campaign.
would be considered a dungeon crawler, but it's not a dungeon. There's not like a dungeon master. The villain, like it's cooperative. So you and I would play together against a scenario. But that scenario, I believe, would have kind of like an automated deck. So it'd be like, okay, now move the villain here and he attacks you. I think.
Fascinating.
It's a whole other world.
Different world.
Yeah, like I've been pulled into board games the last 6 or 7 years. It is the creativity and the things people think of to create a game. I love it.
Huh.
It's some of them are like
See,
works of art.
I'm more with like Calvin C in the nasty chat, like Axes and Allies. Right?
Oh, yeah, I used to play that.
That's
I used to play it on
classic.
my computer with a buddy, like when we lived in Lloyd.
Settlers of Catan.
Catan, yeah.
You know.
Good game. Still going. I think they just call it Catan now. I think they took the Settlers part out.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Aged myself there. I don't play a lot of board games.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
But you may hear me talk about it probably a little bit too much.
That's not true. I do play a mean Candyland. Candyland
Is that a board game or an app?
Candyland is a board game.
Oh, I thought that was an app. Okay.
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Is that one geared towards the demographic of your daughters?
Yes.
Okay. But you've gotten good at it.
Mastered. I've done several campaigns.
At their expense.
Yes.
Daddy, why do you always win? Your kids probably don't sound. That's Ralph again. Is Ralph one of your kids?
Sure. On any given day, it could be.
Chief Wiggin dropped off Ralph at the Milne place. You look after him. What are we actually doing?
That's a great question.
My top 3. Do we have time? Yeah, we have to. We'll do them. And then we can circle back to them if we want. My top 3 annoying fantasy football owner habits. Now, I don't do this one. And I think most apps and websites prevent this from happening now. But I feel like a few years ago, this would happen. The guy who's not in the draft room and isn't on auto draft. And you're just watching the clock tick down. Why isn't he picking? Why isn't he picking? Hey, Jerry, make your pick. What are you talking about? I'm out for dinner. No, we have a draft now. Oh, I forgot to put it on auto draft. And it's wasting all this time. Now I don't think that's possible, but I remember one year doing a draft online and one guy's like, not picking. And then finally he's like, where is he? It's like, oh, he's not logged in and he didn't set it to auto draft. I think now if you're not in the draft room, it just automatically puts it on auto draft for you. But that person that isn't in the draft room isn't on auto draft and they're wasting time because the clock, 1 or 2 minute clock for each pick runs down and then the computer just picks for him anyway. That's annoying.
Yeah, but then it'll go to auto, right?
Don't have to bring that up with
don't bring it up with Dustin tomorrow. Yeah. Did you hear about what happened to him? He knew he was going to be getting onto a flight, and the Wi-Fi might have been a little dicey. So he told Kamish, is this not in a league you're into?
I'm in, and I was here.
Yes.
So I wasn't even there to defend him or fight for him, but I benefited from this.
Can you explain this,
Because
please?
I got the player he wanted. Because
some people that listen to us might not have listened to that.
Yeah, and I'll try to do this quickly so we get the other 2.
Well, we might have to save the other 2 for later in the show, which is fine.
We can.
He was in, so he was flying. He set up a queue. We use CBS for our fantasy league. Text the commission. He was on the clock, and our league, he didn't log into the draft room to set it to autopilot. Apparently, it looks like with CBS, you have to set it to autopilot.
Yeah, okay, so that does still happen.
So it didn't auto pick for him. It just skipped his pick. Also because the commish makes the pick for the people that are at the draft. And the group that was there, they voted 9-2 to not give Dusty best player available. He just lost his pick,
which is complete BS.
That's mean.
And
That's mean.
And part of it is he set a queue. They couldn't access his queue, which he's like, okay, well then if you couldn't access my queue, then just give me the best player available because I'm trying. Like I was trying to do all of this. He's
not negligent.
He did everything he tried to do, and it's because CBS, like most other leagues, if you're not in there,
give you the best available.
It just auto picks that best player available, the next person on there. But our league, I guess in the past, somebody got 2 kickers drafted too soon. So they put in a rule that they don't want to do this anymore.
But totally taking away the pick.
Well, that's the thing.
Is stupendous. How do you do that?
Well, I gotta confront these people on Dusty's behalf.
Reid, that should be number 2 on your top 3, brother.
I will say this though. I benefited it.
You guys.
So I'm pretty happy.
Oh, okay. The truth comes out.
The truth.
Did you bet again? You probably.
I wasn't there. No, in the end, though, I was drafting after him, and the guy he was going to take was Aaron Jones, and I got Aaron Jones.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't there to vote. I wasn't there to that.
I feel bad for Dustin.
It was great. He should feel happy that I got Aaron Jones.
We'll finish my top 3 later. I can also tell you we're in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. Visit them, jameshbrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Well, what about this NFL kickoff? How's that going over? We'll dive into some other big storylines when we bring you back to the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
To W Winnipeg 204, I wasn't there to vote, so my vote wasn't there. The NFL season kicks off in Kansas City as the Chiefs play host to the Baltimore Ravens. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Fort Road kickoff 6:20. Montreal Alouettes will be without receiver Austin Mack. He's been placed on the 6-game injured list with an ankle injury suffered in practice on Wednesday. Toronto Blue Jays, they'll open up a series tomorrow in Atlanta against the Braves. 2 games, though, already final in the majors. Reds got past the Astros 1-0. The Twins defeated the Rays 4-3. 2 other games underway, both in the 9th inning. The Mariners have a 6-2 lead over the Athletics, while it's 2-2 between the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Up next from Pro Football Talk, Josh Alper joins Reid Wilkins and Jay Milne. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Esties, as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talk's incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Esties, September 17th.
And Chris Sadaway in the Paris Jewelers inbox, we will get to the other two traits. He just said, I wanted to know the other two traits to make sure I wasn't that guy.
You might be.
You might be.
I am one of them for sure.
Well, we'll get to it. We will double back on that, but we've got a special guest coming up, don't we?
So we will get back to the top 3 most annoying fantasy football owner habits, but it is, of course, the kickoff tonight, Ravens and the Chiefs. And to dive into some NFL storylines, we're pleased to be joined by Josh Alper from Pro Football Talk. Josh, you're on with Jay and Reid. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing very well. We appreciate you taking the time to join us here just a couple hours before the season starts. I will apologize in advance if you're sick of this question, but I want to get the answer for our audience. And we were talking about it earlier. The new kickoff rule. I mean, you talk to people around the league. How is it being received? What do you think?
Well, I think there's, people took the preseason to try out different things and take some different approaches and things like that. I think that may continue a little bit early into the season, but my feeling is that more like if we get the same kind of average start position that we had in the preseason, which is around the 28, 29 yard line, I think you're going to see a lot of teams eventually just start kicking the ball through the end zone whenever they can, because if it's the 30, you're going to take, losing a yard and a half over the possibility of giving up a touchdown.
So could they change could they move, because people want to see returns, right? They don't want to see the touchback on the kick through the end zone. So do you think they could move the yard line out even further if you kick it through the end zone?
I think that would be the next step. I think the owners met last week. They made some slight tweaks to alignment and things that I think they saw about how players are lined up and clarifying some things about using a tee and other business, but they didn't do anything with the yard marker. And I don't think they would do that within the season. I think that is a very slippery slope of how to deal with things. So I think for this year, it's going to be what it is, and that would be something they look at again next offseason.
Well, I mean, on to what might become one of the biggest, conversations going throughout the year is obviously this was a quarterback-laden draft. So we have 3 quarterbacks that are officially starting with Caleb Williams in Chicago, Jaden Daniels out in Washington, and Bo Nix in Denver. Out of those 3, do you think it's fair to say that Caleb Williams has the most pressure on him with the Chicago Bears heading into week 1?
No, actually, I wouldn't agree with that. I think the pressure is actually the highest on Nix, crazily enough, because I think that, this is Sean Payton trying to build something here. And, I think there was an expectation that he would have done more last season, quite honestly. And I think that, I think that the Bears know that Williams is their guy, and they're going to build with him. And if there are some rough patches, they're going to go through them. And I think that is true with Daniels to an extent too. But I think with Nix, and some of it has to do with his age, and some of it has to do with how long he's around, and some of it just has to do with how long the Broncos are going to commit to Sean, an older coach and Sean Payton if there aren't immediate results. Now, maybe that's not week 1, and so maybe I'm talking more the overall rookie season. But I think it's been more than 20 years since a first overall pick has won their first start in week 1. So I think that's always a good thing to remember when you watch Hard Knocks and when you watch Williams and all those things, and you think about DJ Moore and all the other moves the Bears made. I think the Bears are going to be a good team that competes for a wild card spot. But I don't think it needs to happen in week 1 in a way that, that it kind of does for a Broncos team. They're playing the Seahawks. It's a team playing with a first-time head coach. It would, the defense was really overhauled this offseason. I think it's a spot where you want to see Bo Nix play really well, because the one thing that he has going for him is supposed to be a very high floor.
Well, and I certainly appreciate that answer, and that's a very valid point. And keeping it with quarterbacks, there's been plenty of love for Jordan Love. He comes in tied for the top-paid quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, last year they had a tough loss to the 49ers in the divisional round. Do you see Jordan Love leading the Green Bay to possibly an NFC Conference Championship, Super Bowl, or where do you think? Where does the Jordan Love hype end? For me, I don't necessarily understand it. I don't know if he's proven enough, but tell me I'm wrong, Josh.
Well, I can. I'm very high on him, and what I saw from him in the playoffs, particularly the playoffs, but the real end of the season there. And I think they have a very good receiving core. I think they have a guy who's going to be given more rope in the offense because he's shown he's earned it. But the reason I'm really most bullish about the Packers is I think that if you took that defense and made it, average, it wasn't very good last year. And I don't know that Jeff Hafley as the defensive coordinator is the right guy for the job. He was underwhelming at Boston College and as a head coach, but that defense in Green Bay has so much room to stabilize and be a group that can make life even easier on Jordan Love this season. That's the reason why I think that the upside for them is really high. And I think that LaFleur is a very good coach and a good coach for quarterbacks. So I think it's a perfect spot for Love to continue to get better with a team that should be better around him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch how that all unfolds, because that's going to be a very, very tough division, to say the least. But one last question for me anyhow, but for some reason in Edmonton, there seem to be a lot of Patriots fans, and I'm certainly not one. I'm one of those lowly Washington Commanders fans, but I think the future is bright. I'll get on to my question, but in a recent poll done by The Athletic, Patriots fans ranked 29th in optimism. Coming off a 4-13 campaign last year, they have the new head coach. They're starting Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback. Do you think the Patriots can improve on last year's campaign, or is it time for them to finally go through what most NFL fans go through and suffering through many painful years, given their history of success in the past?
I don't know that it's many painful years, but I think it's one more painful year. I think there's a lot of stuff that still needs to get cleared out and cleared off that roster. One of the things I was most surprised by this offseason was how many contract extensions the Patriots signed to players. And, you notice that none of the players were big ticket positions. They weren't pass rushers or receivers or left tackles or quarterbacks or, those are the places where they still need to get a lot better. And they've started that process, but it is a big process. And so, I think they tried to stabilize some of that stuff and some continuity for Gerard Mayo, who obviously was an in-house hire. I was surprised how much they stayed the course in the wake of Bill Belichick, because I do think it's still going to be another year or two for them to fully turn over that roster and bring in the kind of talent they need to get back to where they were in the AFC. So I understand the lack of optimism for sure.
Okay. Josh Alper from Pro Football Talk joining us this afternoon. A couple more for you, Josh. I'm going to maybe go a little bit more big picture and a little bit more hypothetical, perhaps, if you don't mind. I mean, the NFL has played several international games now for several seasons, whether Europe, Mexico, Brazil coming up. I mean, there were games in Toronto in the past as well. It's been 32 teams for a while. Do you think the NFL will expand in the in the short to medium term future? And if so, like, where might they go? Like, could we have a European division or something like that? I continue to be curious about that.
I'm very curious about that myself, and there are very mixed opinions. On the one hand, it is almost an inevitability because it is a way to generate a huge amount of revenue. And overseas ownership, overseas buyers, those sorts of places have not been tapped the way the American market has. That's one of the reasons the NFL just approved private equity firms being able to own up to 10% of teams. There just aren't individuals with that kind of money. There aren't just that many of them for what it costs to buy an NFL team at this point. There are if you start going to a global marketplace, and I think that is where they'd have to look. But I just don't know logistically how that's going to work out when I still think it's a niche market compared to what we're used to in the United States. And if those franchises can't compete at the same level revenue-wise, it's going to be a drag on the existing franchises rather than a boon. And I think that needs to get sorted out. But with streamers, with broadcasters that are more globally oriented than the typical, I think there are paths to that. But I would think it's probably more intermediate future than near-term future.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious about that. If someday we're going to have the London Monarchs and the Berlin whoever in the maybe not in a Super Bowl, but in a playoff game or something like that. Okay, Josh, are you at the game tonight, or where are you? What's your focus here this weekend?
No, I'm not out in part of the NBC team out there. I'm in the New York area, so I'll be Giants oriented on Sunday, but keeping an eye on a lot of other stuff.
Okay, sounds like fun. Hey, hope we can chat again. Appreciate your perspective. We're curious about that kickoff. We'll see how that goes over the weekend too. Really appreciate you tuning in or checking in, Josh.
All right, my pleasure.
It's Josh Alper from Pro Football Talk. All right, so first of all, my dad probably cringed if he was listening that they just might kick it through the end zone anyway because the returns are coming out to about the 28, 29 on average. Yeah. So they'll just say, we'll just kick it through and give you the 30. That'd be disappointing. And I will say this as well, and I wonder how many people viewing or listening thought this when he was talking about the Patriots fans not being optimistic this year. Guess what? Nobody feels bad for Patriots fans.
Zero.
Because you like the Commanders.
Yes.
I like the Seahawks, who lost to the Patriots in a Super Bowl. Dave Campbell, my longtime colleague and friend at 630 Ched, is a Patriots fan. And even he knew, okay, we're spoiled. So no one felt bad when the Patriots sucked last year.
There's no love lost when you consider, that I wasn't even born the last time the Commanders or their former name Redskins were relevant.
Well, yeah, they won in 90.
I guess I would have been.
Yeah, you would have
too
seen
young
a couple.
to remember.
You'd have been much younger. Yes,
too young to remember Mark Rippon. Although he did sign a jersey for me.
Well, when?
Recently,
because wasn't he born in Calgary or grew up in Calgary?
His grandson goes to the same school as my daughter, if you can believe it.
So Mark Rippon, the former Washington quarterback,
Super Bowl MVP,
now has grandkids.
Yes.
And they're in Ardrossan or Sherwood Park.
Area.
Wow. So when does Mark come here, and when are we getting him on the show?
I had to send it down to him with family. And he did that down. I think they were going down somewhere tropical, and he was going to be there.
But he must come to Edmonton at some point, so we got to get him on the show.
I would imagine that would be great. Talk about the good old days.
Yeah. But the Patriots, kind of unprecedented dominance in the National Football. I mean, they were good for 20 years. So
it's unfair.
Nobody feels bad, especially the teams in that division. The fans of the Bills and the Jets. And I know there were some wins for those teams along the way.
Look at that division, though, now. And I mean, I know we're going to get to some more divisional talk
guaranteed
here.
To be correct predictions.
But yes, and nothing but A1 predictions here. And you can book them. No, please don't.
Bet all your money on our predictions.
Please don't. But you look at that division and how, let's say in the last 10 years, that has just flipped upside down, right? I mean, the Jets used to be the laughing stock with, Vinny Testaverde as their quarterback, and they had Sanchez with the butt fumble. Yeah, I mean, now with Aaron Rodgers and, I won't spoil anything, but I would think Reid might have something to say about the Jets coming up here. But Reid, I wanted to get into the Paris Jewelers inbox.
Oh, sure. Let's catch up, and then we'll break, and then we'll finish my top three, which is only 1/3 done.
Absolutely. Pubs Cheaterson says, yes, Reid, speaking my nerd language. Big into small world, risk, pandemic legacy, eldritch horror. I could go on, but I won't. Love the show. Rip City Step. We're a wild crowd, Reid. Let your game master flag fly.
So who wrote the first one?
That was Pubs Cheaterson.
All right, Pubs. Eldritch Horror would be one of my top 5 board games. And I have not done a Pandemic Legacy game, but certainly Pandemic Legacy Season 1, I would think would be considered one of the greatest board games of all time.
I would agree. And Rob says, it's conversation like this that makes EST the best. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for all chiming in.
I'm not going to get more normal as I get older.
This is who you get, folks. This is who you get.
Yeah, I'm a little. We talked yesterday about my decision to leave Chet and all that kind of stuff, and the people who would have listened there and now have come over would be used to it. I'm a little concerned about how people who've never heard me before.
Oh, I think you're okay.
React.
You were at the Nasty Bash. That's the beauty of this whole place.
I was, but most of those people had listened to me before.
True. Well, and even Christian in Phoenix says, you have a solid Edmonton sports history in Reid Wilkins. I've listened to him for about 10 plus years down here in Arizona. So we're...
Chris in Phoenix.
Chris in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's funny. I'm going to make a point of giving you names, because there's lots of names that you'd probably have come across, throughout your time over there.
People who like sports will listen to sports shows regardless of the station, for sure. I mean, Norman at Combine's legendary listener.
What about Billy Rubin?
I don't know if I know Billy.
Hi, Reid and Jay. Congratulations on your new show. Looking forward to listening to it. Wanted to say that I'd always thought Reid was a consummate professional and couldn't believe how patient he was with some of the people that called into his old show. Good dude. Jay's okay. Cheers, Super Dude. Or is it Super Dude? Is his name? No, Billy. Well, thanks, Billy. I wrote him back and I said, you will learn to love me.
Someday, I could do you could kind of interview me someday on my approach to how I did Overtime Open Line. I wouldn't mind being a little more revealing about that.
Sure. That would be fun.
Because it was even though it was a live show with a lot of moving parts, there was also a plan to it. And that's one of the things I like about broadcasting. I mean, I didn't just go on and be like, I don't know, you have to come up with the plan quickly, but there were things in my head that I kind of knew how the show was going to go, even though it was, okay, the game just ended, go. But anyway, for another day. You know what we have to do right now? Captain Raven with your sports update.
2024 NFL season will get going tonight out in Kansas City as the Chiefs will raise a banner, and then they'll play host to the Baltimore Ravens. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, Fort Road. Kickoff is 6:20. Montreal Alouettes will be without Austin Mack for a little bit as he's been placed on the 6-game injured list with an ankle injury he suffered yesterday in practice. Toronto Blue Jays, they're off today before they open up a series in Atlanta tomorrow against the Braves, although their 4 games already final in the majors today. Reds shut out the Astros 1-0. Twins got past the Rays 4-3. Athletics fell to the Mariners 6-4, while the Giants defeated the Diamondbacks 3-2. Coming up next, we continue with the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
2 guys and a goalie.
I don't mind analytics. I just don't like when people are like only analytics and only this, and they're like, oh, you can't do that, guy is, and so he's horrible. And I'm like, let's watch the tape and then let's look at those analytics and say why some of that stuff happened before we make our decisions.
Cass is good in the sheets, the Excel spreadsheets.
I was going to say,
like
Cass, what do you think of analytics? By the way, this episode will be called Cassalytics. Hey, I think it's got to be
2 guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit GalloLLP.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for print, design, and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of expertise, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. For advertising solutions that stand out, choose William Huff. Visit us at williamhuff.com.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Well, we're here. Are you watching football tonight? Chiefs Ravens. Is that the NBC game?
I believe NBC gets the opener.
Is it Tirico and Collinsworth?
I believe so, and it's also one where it's the fun stuff I love about this part of the NFL because it's the NBC feed and they get a part of their Sunday Night Football package. I think they still call it Sunday Night Football.
They call it Sunday Night Football.
So it's the NFL opener or whatever on Sunday Night Football, and you see the SNF and all that, and it's I always chuckle at that.
It's just like they'll have Thursday Night Football on Christmas Day just because they got to call it Thursday Night Football. Yeah. All right. Well, our show is on Monday to Friday. It's called the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. First of all, and we appreciate all the listeners and viewers that we have. It's fun being on YouTube as well. People can see all our little stuff that we do. And we've had some great businesses jump on board already. If people want to find out how they could get involved or say, hey, maybe I'd like to put my company's name on that segment, how can people do that, Jay?
Be business at edmontonsportstalk.com. Lots of options, lots of different packages to get you involved in so many different ways. And yeah, it's great. It's been good. The support has been overwhelming.
Yeah. Like we've had people involved from day one, which was Tuesday, which was great because they were willing to support a show that didn't exist until a couple of days ago, which is pretty nice, including Fuge Sausages, who are the presenter for Reid's Top 3, 6736 99th Street. Mention Edmonton Sports Talk. You'll get a 10% discount, and they have free delivery in Edmonton on orders over $100. So we started at the top 3. We got a little derailed, and it took longer than we thought, which is fine. We'll finish it now. So the top 3 is most annoying fantasy football owner habits. So you're in a fantasy football league and you have that one guy or gal that just ruins or, almost ruins it for everybody. So the number one thing was the guy who doesn't participate in the draft, but doesn't put his settings on auto draft.
No.
I'm just going to keep giggling at those sounds. So, and then we had Dustin's tragic story of him not be getting whatever. That happened to Dustin. So my number 2, and I got to admit, I have been guilty of this, especially, Oilers season starts and I'm busy and I might be up late or up, and then up early to go cover a practice or whatever. And this one's there's probably somebody in everybody's league that does this. And it's like, come on. The guy that doesn't update his roster, doesn't check his roster. No! And Sunday morning comes around, and this has happened to me, and then all of a sudden I'll be watching a game like, oh, my fantasy team. And I look on the app, oh, that guy's on a bye week. I have him playing. Oh, that guy's injured. I have him playing. Oh, I left my backup in from last week and didn't put the guy back in coming off a bye or an injury, and that's going to cost me about 50 points, and I'll lose by 40, and the guy playing me will benefit, and all the others will be mad that I didn't dress my strongest lineup.
See, this would upset you as the owner, but as the opponent, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, so that's the thing. The person you're playing likes you. The other...
the other
9
league
to 11
members
people in the league are like,
super
come on,
choked,
Reid.
yeah.
We needed that guy to or everybody else checked their roster, Reid. How come you didn't?
Yeah, it's hard to watch.
My argument is I paid my $75. If I finish last, shouldn't you be happy?
It's a fair argument. And there's not much you can say about it.
But I understand why it's annoying to other people.
It's just about the integrity of the league.
Yes.
And that you're supposed to put your best foot forward every week to ensure that you are getting, fair play.
Or if the first 8 weeks of the season, I'm right on it. I'm checking the waiver wire. I'm checking every little point that might make a difference. I'm checking my lineup, and then I get to weeks 9 and 10, and I'm busy or distracted, and all of a sudden, I'm not dressing the strongest lineup, and my opponents and then the other guys would be like, "Well, wait a minute, Reid. I saw you update I saw you fixing your lineup until kickoff time on Sunday, and you beat me by half a point. And then now you play Steve-O, and you don't have the best lineup, and he beat you by 40. Come on.
Yeah,
I get
it's a concern.
I've been guilty of that. So I'm sorry, but not sorry.
That was a good one.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. It was a good point.
How many leagues are you in? 0?
1.
You're in
it's good. It's good enough for me. I used to be in 2, and I used to be in a pick and pool with Billy Bud's pub on the south side.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't do it because I forget to put in my entries.
That's the thing.
And then you're throwing away your money.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you miss 1 week, you just get knocked down so far. It's pick 'em. It's just straight pick 'em, no spread.
Yeah.
And then the Monday nighter is a spread to determine a tiebreak. A spread with points for. So I just can't. I'm too busy.
And again, to each their own. And again, I'm sure there's people tuning in who are in 5, 6, 7, 10 leagues. And they're probably thinking, well, how hard is it? You just go on the app and move players around. And I'm like, yeah, bless you.
Dustin's in a lot of leagues. Like, how many leagues would you say he's in, Matt?
He addicted?
I actually don't know how many leagues.
Maybe he does a lot of mock drafts or something.
He does mock drafts all the time.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
He's doing mock drafts in January or like in February, March, April, May, June. He's just always doing mock drafts.
What's the point?
That's a great question.
I'm sorry. There must be a point. I don't know what it is.
Well, it depends. You enter in what your league is.
Drafting.
Just loves
he doesn't
the
like
draft.
the results of
loves
the draft.
the clock coming down. Just loves to be able to draft. Why do you think there's Edmonton Sports Talk drafts?
Because the leagues are so different now. PPR, full point, half PPR, 12-person league, super flex.
Isn't everything head-to-head now?
It is, but there's different leagues. Like a super flex, you can start 2 quarterbacks. A flex, you can start only 1 quarterback, but you can start an extra running back or an extra receiver.
Well, that's what the league I'm in.
And then there's a full PPR, point, which is points per reception, or a half PPR. So
There's leagues that don't have
no
PPR.
Nor PPR. Mine's PPR.
We've said PP enough for today.
We have. Points
How about
per
we'll just say
reception.
R?
We'll just say. So mine is you start a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, and then there's a flex, but it can't be a quarterback.
So you're in a flex league. Yes.
Yeah.
But then there's
Kicker, defense.
Mine has individual defensive players,
Oh, that's
which
a
I
tough
don't
one.
like. You
Yeah,
have a
that's
defensive
tough. That's
lineman,
too
a
serious.
defensive back, and
Way
a
too
linebacker.
Well, you have to play one from each.
Yes, you have to have 3 defensive players.
Well, no, I was in
that's
one where it was
crazy.
just defense, and you pick individual defensive players, and I would load up on a safety or a linebacker.
Oh.
You have to take actual like one defensive lineman, one middle linebacker, and one secondary.
Yes, so if it was,
I like that.
to use Elks players, you'd
I like
have
that.
to have
Sean Oakman,
and Morgan and Purefoy.
Yeah.
You
I
couldn't.
actually like that.
I don't
Well, if you're
care
playing
for it
if you're
because-
playing individual defense, I like that because when I did an individual
lot,
defense
though.
one time though, like again, I just loaded up on linebackers and safeties. They were going to get tackles or interceptions. Like it was easy to get points.
To me,
But
it's
if
a
you're
little
going to force
more.
me,
It's too much. And the
Yeah.
point of fantasy football is offensively. Let's face it.
Yeah, I agree.
Having the one group defense is enough for me.
slash special teams. Don't forget the special teams
Defense, special teams. I'm sorry. Yes, forgive the kickers.
because the CFL fantasy doesn't do that.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why the
The
CFL
online
fantasy
CFL
is as
fantasy
big
league
as the NFL
just does
fantasy.
defense. They don't do the special teams part.
Well, they know what's up. They know.
In the league I'm in, and here's the thing: the people who are hardcore into fantasy sports, I don't think they're just doing it for fun. I also think they're doing it as some way to scream to the world, look how much I know about this sport when I win, which is fine. I don't necessarily agree with that if you are good at fantasy sports, you know a lot about the sport. Because if you may be able to win fantasy football and not be able to draw a diagram of a zone defense, which is fine. I'm not being critical of that. I'm just saying I think there's the delineation. So, but if you pick a good linebacker, like in my league, there's a point for a fumble recovery.
I would say
which can be very random.
You're an outlier in the sense that most leagues don't have individual defensive players. Would you say that's right, Matty?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's a little bit of an outlier.
Okay.
Because the only, you can pick the greatest team and then you have injuries and this and that. And the waiver wire people are the ones that really get me. Like,
That's where you win.
that is, but
In
you
a 10
got to
to
have
12 league team, that's
Like,
where
what-
you win.
What do you mean the waiver wire people?
Well, I'm in a 14-team league, so it's even more important. So let's say you have an injury or somebody that went undrafted has a big first week. You get them on a waiver wire. You have to drop somebody, and it can transform your team throughout the season, but it takes a lot of work.
My league, I'm in a 16. The one Dusty's in that he got screwed in.
Yeah.
We're a 16 team. Waiver sucks. There's nothing.
Oh, because you can't get anything.
There is no. When we get into our draft, it's a deep draft. The names that are getting selected deep in those drafts are ridiculous.
How many rounds is your draft?
I think it's 18. Or
Yeah,
something,
ours is
or whatever.
18 too.
So did Brandon
nobody
Zylstra
left.
get
But when we
drafted?
we keep 5 players.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of players right off the bat that are just gone.
Yeah.
I'll tell you like a couple players on my team.
Oh,
Let's
this
see
is
if you
great.
know
Oh,
these
yeah, we
guys.
all love the guy who
No.
talks about his
Oh, yeah, look
fantasy
how
team.
good my
that
team
that
is.
should have been my number one annoying.
Marvin Mims.
I left
Yeah,
that
they're
off
gonna
the
be
list.
they're gonna be no namers. Is
Marvin
what
Mims.
what he's doing. Yes.
You guys know Marvin Mims?
Yeah. Exactly.
Isn't that a Dr. Seuss character?
Xavier Gibson.
Gibson? Yeah. Yeah.
Marvin Mims.
the Jets?
Munched on an apple.
Jalen Tolbert.
He's like he doesn't even know who Dr. Seuss is.
In my, I have a guy that is 8% owned in CBS leagues, 1% owned, 4% owned. Because that's how deep it is. It's ridiculous. I love waiver wires.
That actually is. I didn't put this on the list, but the number one. And I didn't say this originally. It was some comedian. I can't remember who it was, but the line was, "To you, your fantasy football team is the most interesting thing in the world. To everybody else, your fantasy football team is the least interesting thing in the world." To me, conversations with your coworkers about fantasy football should never extend beyond my team won or lost this week. I don't care that you started T. Higgins over Jefferson and got more points or whatever.
It's inappropriate.
And most people don't care. It's your money.
They could
it's
care
your
less
wagering.
because all they
Yeah.
care about is their team. And especially if you come in bragging about how great T. Higgins was, and you just got demolished on the last play and the Monday nighter that cost you your week. That's the last thing you want to talk about.
But my number, and these are in no particular order, but the third thing I put on the list for my top 3 most annoying fantasy football owner habits is the person in the league who's always trying to convince you to make a lopsided trade with him. And I have one of these guys in my league. He'll offer you a trade, and he'll message you on the app, and he'll text you, and he'll try to sell an obviously bad trade. So so for an example, I'll just use high-profile players. He wants to trade you his defensive back for Patrick Mahomes. And then you reject the deal, and he's like, hey, man, like, I can't believe you rejected that deal, but okay, I'll throw in a third. I'll throw in a third-round draft pick. And you're like, dude, I'm not trading you Patrick Mahomes. He's one of the best players in the league, if not the best. And then he sends you this long message explaining that this defensive back had 10 interceptions in high school, and it's only a matter of time before he does that in the NFL. And his new defensive backs coach won a Super Bowl in 1997, so he's a champion. And there's more passing in the NFL, so therefore there will be more interceptions. And his contract is longer than Mahomes's, so he's going to be in the league longer. And he's trying to and it's almost like he's trying to brainwash you that somehow Patrick Mahomes is this washed up dead end quarterback, and you have to he's doing you a favor by taking Patrick Mahomes off your hands for this stud defensive back. Those guys that try to convince you to make a lopsided trade with them.
Yeah, but then you just press decline. That's
of course, but I'm just saying it's annoying.
It's like they're trying to take advantage of you and put you in a light where they're saying, oh, no, this is the trade you want, realizing that you have enough football acumen to say no.
And the reason I get myself into that situation is because I'm guilty of number two, of sometimes not paying close enough attention to my team.
That's why he preys on you.
They're thinking like,
yes,
I bet your Reid doesn't know that Patrick Mahomes is good.
Things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. I'm going to add one to your list, Reid.
Yeah.
I'm not often going to do this, but this one is glaringly. As somebody who appreciates a good GM, a good commissioner of the league, you are the bane of everybody's existence, particularly the commish. If you're the guy that he has to chase down for money, for the payment, for the entry fee.
Good point.
You are the scum of the earth. You stink. You should not be in the league. You should be penalized, kicked out. See you later, because you stink. That job is hard enough for commish. To then have to go and run and chase and try find money? No.
That is,
No.
The guy who won't pay forgets to pay.
Brutal.
Or there's a deadline and then he's still late to the deadline. But you can't kick him out of the league if it's a head-to-head league, especially.
I would dock their first game. If you haven't paid, 0-1. Why not? Matthew,
Mr. Rules.
He's looking at
me. Do you know who's a little bad for payment?
Oh,
things?
no. Should you?
You?
No.
Dustin?
It wouldn't be him.
In that same league.
Oh,
he got screwed in.
Dustin's listening.
There's often where we get the email of these are the people that haven't paid, and Dusty's name is showing there.
All right, this has been a fun show. 780-218-9999. If you want to jump into the Paris Jewelers inbox, you can go into the nasty chat on YouTube. A lot of messages. We wish we had time to read them all on air, but we'll pick out some as we go along. We are going to give you our guaranteed to be correct NFL predictions, and I'll talk about my relationship and approach to predictions as well. We'll also have the oil understood for GCL Diesel. Quick break and a sports update.
Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
At A&W, you can start the morning off right with a regular coffee and an egger of your choice for just $4.99. Bacon and egger or sausage and egger on a seeded bun or an English muffin? The choice is yours. But we know it'll be tasty either way. And to make matters even more delicious, this offer is available all day. But don't snooze on this deal. An egger and a regular coffee for only $4.99 is a limited time price. Available at participating A&W restaurants in Greater Edmonton.
Conveniently Conveniently located 10 minutes west of St. Albert, Wheeler's RV Storage will provide you with safe, secure storage for your RV, boat, or whatever you need to store. Open 7 days a week with gated keypad access and extra large stalls. Now is the time to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months and get 1 month free. Now's the time to go to WheelersRVStorage.com. That's Wheeler's RV Storage. Safe, secure storage. Visit them today at WheelersRVStorage.com. If you've been injured in a car collision, let James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, protect your interests. They'll be there every step of the way to help answer your questions and help you get your life back on track. Trust Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, call James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers, 780-428-0088, or go to jameshbrown.com.
2024 NFL season's getting set to kick off in Kansas City as the Chiefs, they will play host to the Baltimore Ravens, a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge just off Fort Road. Kickoff is 6:20. Montreal Alouettes will be without receiver Austin Mack as they've placed him on the 6-game injured list. This after he sustained an ankle injury in practice yesterday. Toronto Blue Jays, they are off today before they open up a series against the Atlanta Braves. 4 games already final. Reds got past the Astros 1-0. Twins defeated the Rays 4-3. Mariners defeated the Athletics 6-4, while the Diamondbacks fell to the Giants 3-2. 2 other games underway. The Phillies are up 1-0 over the Marlins. That one at the top of the second. While also in the second, the Nationals lead the Pirates 3-0. This EST Sports Update, it's brought to you by Wheeler's RV Storage, conveniently located 5 minutes east of St. Albert. Wheeler's RV is your safe and secure place to store your RV, boat, or whatever it is you want to store. Visit them at WheelersRVStorage.com to take advantage of their limited time offer. Buy 6 months, get 1 month free. Go to WheelersRVStorage.com today and get your storage needs taken care of. Coming up next is the start of the third hour of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. I'm Adam Wanek. You're up to date.
All right. Austin Mack's hurt for Montreal?
Austin Mack hurt. Yep.
I think BC's going to win tomorrow. Rourke seems to be getting back to his old self. Montreal's very good, but they've won some close ones. They've pulled a couple out of the fire, including to some extent the game against the Elks a couple of weeks ago. I think BC wins in Montreal tomorrow. Random, meaningless prediction, which we have more of coming up. I also want to tell you tomorrow on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, Rod Smith is going to join us, longtime TSN anchor and play-by-play. He's got an awesome voice. I love listening to
Legendary.
Rod Smith. He's calling the BC Montreal game, and then I believe he's flying out. Is it him flying out? I think then he's flying out to do the Edmonton-Calgary game.
I think I did, because, Dusty's got
Winnipeg
Sask.
Ottawa, or Winnipeg Sask. I can't keep my Rough Riders straight.
Rod Smith... There was a BBC Earth doc once that I turned on, and it had Rod Smith voicing it.
Really?
Me and Dave Jamieson were stunned by it. It was like the greatest.
He has a great voice. So he's going to join us tomorrow, as will Hart Levine from Puckpedia, and he's going to give us the oil understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around. From turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors, they are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and a proud partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and, of course, the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel, diesel understood. Awesome to have GCL Diesel on board for our Oil Understood segment. But we'll dive deeper into this tomorrow, but basically we're going to try to understand and explain a little bit more on deferrals in NHL contracts like Seth Jarvis got. And are we going to come at it maybe from sort of a Bouchard angle?
Well, we have to. We have to explore that, because by all, the rumor is that somewhere between 9 and 10 million. And I mean, you're paying 4 players at that point upwards of $50 million.
Well, that's the thing. The Oilers could have Well, I think they will have McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse.
Yeah, McDavid,
and
Draisaitl,
Bouchard
$30 million. Then you got Nurse
31. Nurse is already at 9.25. Say 9.
So I mean, it's
what if
upwards.
Bouch is at 10?
Right. So you're pushing 50 on 4 players.
So that could be so even if the salary cap hypothetically goes up to 100 million, which it won't that quickly.
Currently it's at
you could have a 50-year player that's
million.
making half the money.
So what do you think?
Yeah.
It could go up by 5 million.
Yeah,
next
it
year?
might start climbing a little more now, but it might take a few years to get to 100.
I think it was David Pagnotta who was thinks that it'll be like 100 million by the time Connor's contract will kick in.
Oh, so
that's in
years.
2 more years, right?
Okay, so
that's when it could get to potentially 100 million. Because before COVID hit, that January in 2020, they reported I think it was going to be like a $7-8 million increase that was supposed to come to the cap. And then COVID hit and it was flat, and then and now the money's back. So I don't think it's long until we're going to start seeing again those $5, $6, $7 million increases.
Wasn't the cap 39 million when it first came in 2005?
Couldn't tell you.
Something I should have looked up ahead of time, everybody.
That's
39 million US.
Good memory.
Not as dumb as I look.
You are not.
No one could be that dumb.
No.
Okay.
But it's got to be something that's discussed, because whether it's a cap increase or this deferral, which is
to me, it seems like a way to circumvent the cap,
but not as much as you.
But they agree to it.
But we're going to have somebody on to talk about it
Hart
tomorrow.
Levine from Puckpedia, who's a great guest. All right. 780-218-9999 is how you text the Paris Jewelers inbox. A lot of stuff in the nasty chat as well. A lot of fun stuff. Chris from Phoenix, I think, is writing, and he used to call on Jed all the time. So I appreciate he's found the show in Phoenix.
Funny, they'll find you.
Well, I don't know if you knew this. Phoenix does not have the internet.
It's dry down there.
It's just a random city that doesn't have the internet. All right. So we will do, this is what we're going to do, Jay and I, and basically I think I'm going to kind of keep doing, well, unless you have some other brilliant idea, but I think it sort of makes sense. For predictions, we're not going to do everything. We're not going to do every game or every big or every playoff series in every league. But on Inside Sports, we do NHL preseason predictions. We do NHL playoff predictions. We usually do some CFL stuff, and we do NFL stuff. And those are the leagues of most prominence in this city, and most interest,
and the big dogs.
And the big
players.
Right,
who's gonna come out of which?
And I gotta hand it to Hernan and Joaquin, because they did all these individual award winners for the NFL. Folks, I'm sorry, we're not going to get that specific. I did say this because they even picked Super Bowl MVP. And I said, if I were doing it, I would, just to be cheeky, I would have made my Super Bowl pick like Team A will beat Team B, and then I would have picked my Super Bowl MVP off Team B. The losing team will have the Super Bowl MVP, which I don't know if it's happened. It might have happened once. So anyway, we're going to do, guaranteed to be correct, everybody, our NFL predictions. So Jay and I are just going to pick our 14 playoff teams and who beats who in the Super Bowl.
Go ahead. Make my day.
That's Dirty Harry. I believe the line he actually said that in, I don't know if it was Dirty Harry. It might have been Sudden Impact, the movie he actually said it in. It was a Dirty Harry movie.
I see.
Maybe he said it in more than one. I just realized I can prop this up on my laptop, but then I can't see my screen. Plus, I have a touch screen, so now I just went to some weird website.
Don't name the website.
It's not one of those. We didn't even talk about how we're going to do this. We can just kind of say who we're picking in one sentence on why.
Let's start with the AFC, because that's who's playing tonight.
Football Conference.
Right? So we're going to say the 7 teams we figure are coming out, right? I mean, I got the Bengals winning the AFC North. I think Joe Burrow's going to come back and he's going to be strong. I have the Baltimore Ravens being the one wild card team. I have the Jets winning the AFC East. Miami as a wild card. I have Jacksonville winning the South. Houston as a wild card. And then obviously in the AFC West, I have Kansas City. Okay. How far apart are we?
I think we have 5 of the 7 teams the same, though not all in the same spots. My division winners are the Chiefs. I've talked about the Chiefs until someone can prove they're not the big dogs.
Exactly. How can you not?
And it seems the last couple of years, or even a few years since they've had Mahomes and Reid and Kelsey, You know, there's some loss in September or October where they lose at home or they lose to some mediocre team. And, oh, look at the Chiefs. They're vulnerable. No, they aren't vulnerable. They're fine. They're good. I'm going to go with Buffalo to finish first in the East. Baltimore in the, the North?
Yep.
I almost said the Central. That's 20 years ago. I will take the Texans because what's that guy? Stroud is their quarterback?
CJ Stroud,
He's good.
Norman at Combine will definitely like that.
And my old colleague Brendan Escott is a big Houston fan. My wild card teams, I'll go with the Bengals because Burrow is good.
Okay.
And I'm going to take two teams out of the AFC East to be the wild card. Miami, I mean, they're still exciting. I think they're flawed, as we kind of saw last year as the season went on, but I still think they can win enough to make the playoffs. And my other AFC wildcard team, and I'm picking this team, like this is the fun thing about predictions. What are we basing it on? Whatever we want. I'm basing this on the fact that Josh Clausen last week told me that they're going to be good and it's his favorite team. I'm going to go with the Jets.
So we only had one. Okay, no, because you took Buffalo. You do not have Jacksonville in the picture at all, eh?
No.
Okay.
You like Lawrence?
I like Trevor Lawrence.
You like the flowing locks?
I do. Yeah, I think they can put it together. If Etienne can come back and be healthy, could be a solid running attack, which is what they're missing.
So, sorry, I'm just
go on.
I just want to my attitude on predictions is. And again, this is one thing that I've changed as I've gotten older because I used to be like, oh my God, you make a prediction, you got to prove it. You got to prove you know something. Like predicting something that's going to happen in 4 or 5 months in anything is hard enough, especially in sports where, Burrow got hurt last year for Cincinnati. They missed the playoffs by, I think, a game. If he plays the whole season, they're probably in. And I will just say to people, hopefully you'll have fun with it. Because I've been a talk show host 11 years and been covering sports most of my adult life. I've had some people get really upset with me about my predictions. Like, how do you possibly, angry, offended. And I'm just like, okay, hang on. It's fun. And plus, really, you could make the silliest prediction, especially in the NFL, which to me is the most predictable of all the leagues. And there's often a team or two in the NFL that was supposed to be a bottom feeder that gets in or challenges for a playoff spot. So you could pick Carolina to make the playoffs. Weren't they last year?
Yeah, I mean...
it's unlikely, but who knows? You get a break or two, you get hot, you play some injured teams, you get in.
I will say, if we keep this for later down the road, I will say we are directionally correct here. We've got a good pulse on this here. I don't think there's as much room, say, for parity as there, but I for one, believe in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they are going to be a team to contend with in the AFC
So who's the
South.
team I had in that you didn't?
Buffalo.
You don't have Buffalo in the playoffs?
No.
They got Josh Allen. I often just go by quarterbacks, too.
I just wonder, who's he throwing the ball to? Curtis Samuel is his number one receiver? I've seen what Curtis Samuel could do. I'm a Commanders fan. I'm not sold on that. I think
Diggs is gone, right?
Diggs is gone. I think they've lost too many offensive weapons.
Okay.
Look at Minnesota. Jefferson, is he even going to be relevant this year? Sam Darnold's throwing him the ball. Right?
Maybe he'll be good.
Sam Darnold?
Maybe not.
That's
my first question is, do they have a good quarterback? Then I would consider that they're at least a contender.
Jaguars owner Shad Khan said winning now is his expectation. He said, make no mistake. This is the best team assembled by the Jacksonville Jaguars ever.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's a low bar for that franchise. I know they've been to a couple AFC championship games. Oh, I made a Wannock laugh. Imagine that. Total side note here, because the NFL is a powerhouse, as we've been talking about, and they market well, and their TV packages are incredible, and all that kind of stuff. I would think if the NFL could have one do-over, they wouldn't put a team in Jacksonville. That's been the one franchise where it's kind of like, okay, Jacksonville, whatever, and they've usually been kind of mediocre or bad.
Yeah, they're coming around though. But it's just it's just like Edmonton, the Elks for the last few years. They've stunk, so nobody goes to watch them. Now they actually are putting a team together that they can be proud of.
Jacksonville named after Michael Jackson, of course. Oh, that's not true.
I wish I had the down by the beach house. Down by my beach. Well, it's not on the beach. It's more like 5 minutes away from the beach.
What's that from? Talladega Nights, which I don't know the
No,
references to.
Jags Girl. Maddie, you should see.
What am I missing?
Pull it up. It's legendary.
Is this a Jacksonville Jaguars fan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't see this.
She sadly has passed over the last few years.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Sorry
but
to hear
they
that.
were talking to her. Dusty and Eric play the clip all the time on their show, and she was talking about how you can't beat the Jags or whatever. Then the NFL's like rigging it against the Jags.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, they might be.
And then she
Because
says
they
she's
wish
got
there wasn't a team there.
She's got a beach house.
Are we getting any predictions
but
rolling in yet?
It's the beach is it's 5 minutes from the beach. Actually, if you go to the map that we have by the fridge where we're pinning things, one of the spots does say Jags house or like beach house or something.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of Jacksonville Jaguars support.
Come on.
I'm not
There's
kidding.
like one Jaguars fan in Edmonton.
Actually, I think Dustin with the Y.
Dustin with a
is.
Y and Rip City.
They both
really?
They're
They
talking
both
about it
are.
at Century.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, they are. And then VR's in there. He's a Bengals guy, so that's good.
All right. You know what I did before we do the NFC? I know I pretty much derailed the whole show today with my side topics.
Board games? Everybody loves board games.
There's an unusual amount of Bengals fans that I have encountered in the last 15 years. Like there were 3 or 4 at Ched. I don't know if it was the striped helmets because they were pretty lousy for quite a while too. What's that?
Brendan Ulrich's one, right?
Yes. Yeah. Matthew Panashik was one who I assume he still is one. He was at Ched for a while.
I just love how everybody has a team, right? And like, why am I a Commanders fan? Because my mom bought me like a secondhand jersey when I was a young guy.
Because regionally, if it goes by proximity,
we'd all be Buffalo fans or Seahawks fans. Well, and that's why a lot of people are Seahawks fans, is because that's all you used to get on CTV.
A game. I didn't really have a favorite team, and then I went to a Seahawks game in 2004, and I knew I was going to go, so I really started following them, and then I just, what is that?
Sorry, no one else could hear it except us. But I'm getting the Jags fan
Where's that
set up.
sound
No, we got to hear this.
from?
We got to hear that.
I just got to see if I can get this.
Can you get the video too?
That's what I'm trying to
Reid could see, because she is something to see. Like, she has just
I'm
got it
letting
all.
everybody down by not knowing this.
She's got it all. Okay, well then let's move on to the NFC.
Oh,
We'll get back
we're actually doing these.
We'll get
anyway,
back to Jags
these
fans.
are for fun, but also guaranteed to be correct. And
100%.
Same rule I had on Inside Sports. If your predictions are correct, they will be saved and celebrated forever. Any wrong predictions? Oh, I don't think we got it. We lost it. What did you pick? We don't know.
Who cares? Liquid Beaver. Sheldon's a Bengals fan. I didn't know that. Okay, here we go. NFC North. I think this is going to be the NFC is interesting.
Okay, let's do one back and forth each division.
Okay, I have Detroit winning that division.
Agreed. Good team.
But I also have Green Bay as a wild card.
So do I.
Okay.
How boring.
NFC East. Another 2 team. I have Dallas winning it.
I have Philly winning it, and they don't get a wild card.
Okay.
I know Philly collapsed last year, but I still think they'll be good.
I have Philly as a wild card.
Okay.
NFC South. Tampa Bay.
I didn't know who to pick, so I
think
just
people
picked
are sleeping on
Atlanta.
Tampa Bay.
Okay, I picked.
I don't know that they should. They've got a decent team.
They have the best uniforms in pro sports.
Heck of a defense too. And I don't know what to think about Atlanta. But if Kirk Cousins can actually move the ball, they could be dangerous.
Okay.
So wild card Atlanta. NFC West, San Francisco.
I have San Francisco, and I have the Rams as a wild card. And
I like
then
that.
my favorite team pick, I have Seattle as the other wild card.
Oh.
So I'm giving 2 divisions, three teams.
Wow.
Like Seattle tied for the last playoff spot last year and lost on a tiebreaker to Green Bay. And
I just don't know if Gino's the guy.
I know. I sometimes I'm a little down on him, but I do think the new coach will make some changes to defense, and I'll go with my favorite team just to make it. Is that being a homer? Can I be a homer if I don't live in that city?
Oh, absolutely not. We got Jags fan ready to roll here, Maddie. Reid, you're going to want to check this out. Jags fan.
Go.
Yeah, okay, let's see if this works.
As far as picks, they say they have the best draft in the entire NFL. Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal a show.
Thank you.
That's a real person. That's real.
They did make the AF. Was it not that both them and Carolina made the conference championship games in their second years in the NFL? Both, I believe it was either in their second or third years. both the new teams made it in the 90s.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not, but it's not. My biggest takeaway from that was it's not quite a beach house, but it's close enough to the beach. She still wants to call it a beach house.
And it was in Miami.
Right. It'd be like saying, I live next to Rogers Place. Well, actually, I live in Capilano, but it's close enough.
We're going to have to get that as a soundbite. Take it to the limit. I want that. That is clutch.
I'll just say this.
I know it's coveted.
You're going to have to talk to Dusty and Eric because that's theirs.
I agree.
Can that be shared? I don't know.
Maybe not. I know.
You just have to have a conversation. You just have to ask.
It's like touching gold. I know.
I don't. That's a benchmark of the morning show. So I think you're just going to have to get their approval.
Someone wants to know who I'm picking this weekend in the CFL. I've taken BC over Montreal. I will take Ottawa to beat Toronto, though I still don't think Ottawa is as good as their record suggests. Winnipeg will beat Saskatchewan again. And I do think, and this isn't a homer pick because I run a CFL pool, and as you see, Matt, I've picked against the Elks several times, but I do think the Elks will beat Calgary. So I'm taking BC and then all three home teams on Saturday for the triple header.
You hear that, Jay? I'm part of his pool.
Yeah, I know.
Next year you'll be like, I hardly knew you when I started it.
That's true.
Well, I started it in 2001, but when I got it going again I don't know how you got in it.
Kevin Bandel.
Oh, no way. Okay.
He messaged, I think, his whole fantasy league, the Kerfloot or whatever the heck it's called, and I got added into that.
We are in the James H. Brown studio. James H. Brown Personal Injury Law Firm, the heavy hitters of injury law. With over 200 years of experience, James H. Brown will get you the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com. Book your private consultation today. Elks, storylines, Commonwealth, Renos, how are tickets going? Evan Dom coming up after the sports update.
NFL season kicks off tonight as the Kansas City Chiefs will play host to the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. You'll be able to watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Kickoff is 6:20. The Chiefs will have to do so without their superfan Chiefsaholic, as he was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison after committing a string of armed bank robberies across the United States. In CFL news, the Montreal Alouettes announced that wide receiver Austin Mack has been placed on the 6-game injured list after having an ankle injury he sustained yesterday in practice. Coming up next on the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne from the Edmonton Elks, Vice President Evan Dom joins the show. I'm Matt Awanek. You're up to date.
Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Celebrate the grand opening of Sit and Sleep and discover a revolutionary way to shop for mattresses. Stop in today for a free pressure point scan using cutting-edge technology so sleepologists can identify the perfect mattress for you. Right now, you'll get free local delivery on any mattress over $5.99 and receive a bamboo cooling mattress protector. Get grand opening savings now with every mattress on sale. Join us on location today for the celebrations at Sit and Sleep in South Common next to Planet Fitness.
Fuse Sausage makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Get your 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in store at 6736 99th Street, or use the code EST when shopping online at fusesausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders over $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Fuse Sausage. You can't beat our meat.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Step closer to the hollow. The devil may care.
All
right, so pretty fun football weekend in Edmonton. Tomorrow night at 7 at Foot Field, U of A Golden Bears, great team hosting the Calgary Dinos. Of course, the Bears are 1-0, and the Edmonton Elks, who have gone from 0-7 to 4-8, host Calgary, 5 o'clock on Saturday at Commonwealth. Our Green and Gold kickoff show will be at 4 o'clock on Saturday with Matt and Jay, and then they'll have post-game as well. And to talk a little bit more about this, the Elks Vice President of Marketing and Fan Engagement, Evan Daum, is on the line. Evan, it's Reid and Jay. How are you doing? The suspense is killing us. We will connect. All right, he's probably trying to answer the question, and we couldn't hear him. We'll get to Evan. But I would think this will be hopefully one of, if not the best attended Elks games since the pandemic. And
has to be.
Perhaps the most enthusiastic crowd in a while. I mean, there were some coming out in 2021 when we came back. There were some games with good crowds. You know, the team hasn't been great. And but I think a little, and the weather's supposed to be great on Saturday.
Well, and that's kind of what it's been all along is give the fans something to cheer for, and they will show up.
All right, here's Evan. Evan, do we have you? How are you doing?
I think I'm here, guys. Am I here?
You are here, yes, or wherever you are. Thanks for checking in. Evan Daum, VP of Marketing and Fan Engagement for the Edmonton Elks. I'll start with the question you're probably getting asked a lot of. How are ticket sales going for Saturday's game?
It's funny, when you win Labor Day and you're on a bit of a heater, Reid, you sell tickets. It's been really good. Since Monday, since we won the game against Calgary there down south, the tickets have been moving really well. We're about 27,000 out right now, so we're in a good place with a couple of days left to go, and we're expecting a big walk-up crowd on Saturday because it's going to be awesome outside, and we got lots going on.
All right, I'll ask you this question here. What is the threshold for the opening of the upper deck? Could that be considered at all?
Probably not at this point, Reid, because we're getting close to kickoff, game day, I should say, with just everything that goes into having open the upper deck, the logistics of that, the Ticketmaster stuff, working with the city on it. It's unlikely at this point. So our goal right now is to get 31,500 in the lower bowl and have it absolutely rocking and make it tough on the Stampeders when they have the ball.
Now, Evan, you said that this is obviously a big game. You're expecting a big crowd. Is there anything that the Elks are doing different this week leading up to the Labor Day rematch?
Yeah, there's a bunch of things going on at the park today or this weekend, Jay. We've expanded our kids zone. It's the entire field house, so there's lots of bouncy castles, places for the kids to have a great time. We've got a few sort of carnival type things in Fan Park for the older kids to enjoy, the adults to enjoy. We've got free hot dogs at our EG Tailgate Central stall in Fan Park. 10,000 cowbells, the first 10,000 people through the doors, a pregame happy hour inside the stadium from 4 to 5, $6 beer, $3 hot dogs. We've got the return of fireworks in game. We've got a new run out tunnel, which I won't share too many details on, but people will enjoy. It's a bit of a throwback. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We're throwing everything we can at this game. And like I said, it's going to be an awesome day. We're expecting a big crowd. We're playing good football. It's an awesome recipe for a lot of fun.
Now, we had a couple
and
people...
I should say, sorry guys, kids get in free too with adults. How could I forget that?
You read my mind. I was just going to ask that, Dahmer.
Now, I saw your question list.
Now, let's clarify that, because is it, so if you have, is it one kid per adult ticket, or explain that in detail? We had a couple people asking, maybe a single parent bringing 3 kids kind of thing.
It's 2 youth tickets per adult ticket. So a youth is 17 and under. So you've got a 16-year-old who doesn't want to talk to you most days of the week. Take them to a football game and they'll like you a little bit more. So it's 2 for 1 on the adult to kid ratio. And like I said, 17 and under. So it's a great deal.
All right. There was a story yesterday, and maybe you have some details on this about the city. And correct me if I'm not wording it exactly right, but basically talking about some renovations or upgrades to Commonwealth Stadium. Is this something immediate, or what's going on here with this?
Yeah, it's not an immediate thing, Reid. It's interesting that it sort of bubbled to the surface yesterday. There's been renderings and there's been conversations and sort of plans for facility upgrades at Commonwealth Stadium for quite some time. I know the renderings that are floating around and people have been looking at have been up on the City of Edmonton website since January, actually, of this year. So it's not really new. It just sort of percolated and people got interested and it piqued some interest. So yeah, there's always conversations between the city, the club, a variety of different partners on stadium enhancements at Commonwealth Stadium. That's ongoing. There's been things that have been done already this season in terms of suite upgrades and concession upgrades and production room upgrades. So, obviously the big flashy things are what people are excited about, and those renderings certainly show a Commonwealth Stadium that would be frankly awesome if those things came to fruition. But there's nothing sort of in the immediate future. It's just in the plans, and it's something that would have to find some funding mechanisms in order to happen. So it was new, but it wasn't really new at the same time. It was something that was sort of out there already for people to see. It just made its way to the surface yesterday.
Okay. One of the things that is new is, there's a new owner for the team, which is Larry Thompson. He's been at the helm a few weeks now, and I know he did a chat with season ticket holders last night, and I believe he confirmed something that I think we'd been whispering about for a while here. The Edmonton is going after the Grey Cup in 2026?
Yeah, that's right, Reid. We submitted our bid last week. It went to the CFL, so we have a presentation to the committee that will put forward their recommendation to the CFL Board of Governors in a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully that presentation goes well, and by the time we get to Vancouver's Grey Cup in November, we'll know who has the 2026 Grey Cup. So it's exciting times. A lot of work went into that. Rick Lawlisher, who's our president and CEO, was not only working on the ownership situation with our board of directors, but he was also working on the Grey Cup bid. So Rick's had a few balls in the air, and we've had collectively a lot going on, and we're excited about the prospect of bringing another Grey Cup to Edmonton in 2026. And we've got an exciting announcement tomorrow about the legacy of the 2018 Grey Cup 50-50 that we'll be unveiling tomorrow, and it'll be a great day for amateur football in our city. Okay, we look forward to that as well. And is Calgary bidding in 2026? Is that confirmed as well? That's right. So that's right. We're up 1-0 in the series. So if we win tomorrow, it means we get the Grey Cup. Okay. On Saturday, I should say. That'd be quite a way to decide it. Actually, just pick certain games. So it's Grey Cups Vancouver this year, Winnipeg next year, and then Edmonton and Calgary bidding in 2026. I mean, there's the new owner. The one thing I thought about Larry, and I was obviously at the news conference, and we got to have him on our special coverage here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Like his passion and long-term connection with this franchise is pretty significant, isn't it? Well, there's no debating that. I mean, first and foremost, Larry's a fan. He's been going to games since '72. He started going there as a young boy. It's certainly something that was part of, the fabric of his experience growing up. He's got lots of memories of Clark Stadium, lots of favorite players that he's watched over the years. He's seen some incredible football, and that's the perspective that he brings. And he's obviously got a business acumen from his time leading the construction group with Thompson Group. So he's a guy who brings a lot to the table for us, and certainly passion is at the top of the list. Okay. Evan, how can people get tickets for Saturday if they're interested? GoElks.com is the place to visit, Reid, and we're looking forward to, like we said, a big crowd. Kids get in free. That youth ticket, 17 and under. One adult gets you 2 youth in. So it'll be a great time, and make sure to go to the fan park, which is on the southwest corner of the stadium at Gate 2. That opens 2 hours prior. So it's going to be raucous right from 3 to 5 o'clock. And then, like I said, 10,000 cowbells in there. So make sure you make a lot of noise and make it tough on the Stampeders and get us a win. Okay. Do we miss anything that you want to make sure is out there? Just that this station, this channel, whatever you guys call yourselves, is a lot better since Tuesday with Hernan and you guys. Well, that's very kind of you, Evan. Thank you very much. Thanks for chiming in. Not that it was bad before, but now it's like it went from a 9 to like an 11. So good job, boys. Again, I like the Spinal Tap reference as well. Okay, we'll see you at Commonwealth. Sounds good, Reid. See you, Jay. That's Evan Dom, Elks Vice President of Marketing and Fan Engagement. So 27,000 plus sold already. That's 31.5 in the upper deck or in the stadium. They're not going to open the upper bowl because there's ticketing and stuff in there. So I guess, but it'll be a good crowd.
Now I know we talked about this before, but wouldn't it be great to sell out the 31.5?
Yes,
and say that you've done it.
Yes.
And now now it would put a little bit of pressure on fans that are wanting to come out down the stretch and support the double E.
You got to get in there.
You got to get your tickets.
Yeah.
Maddie, you've said that before, and I never really thought it, given where the season was, but now that it's coming to fruition, I mean, maybe you really are the Rain Man.
Which part?
About saying, sell it out.
Yeah, and that's something I said once they announced the lower bowl was only going to be open, that I would hold off on it for a year or two, just straight up. Even if they had sold a bunch of tickets earlier this week, unless you know that you were going to sell another 4,000 or 5,000, make it a ticket. Make it something that you don't have. It's not game day. You can go get your ticket. You have to pre-plan to go to the Elks game, which is not something that has happened since the 80s. Since the 80s when they were selling out 40-some thousand with Warren Moon, you could go to Commonwealth day of and get a ticket, because even if there was 40-some thousand, it was a great crowd. There's a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to create a business where it was make it a premium in a sense, make it a hot ticket, and to do that supply and demand type thing there.
Yeah.
So for me, even if there's another game, like a game next year, like home openers trending, like I'd almost just for that 1 year, like if you didn't get your ticket, go pre-planning and go get your ticket.
And they're legitimately in a race for play. I've been saying, I know if you look at the stand, like if somebody was just waking up from not following anything for a few months, and they said, well, 4-8's not that good. They've won 4 of their last 5, and how they've won, quite frankly, has been impressive. I mean, they're not winning by accident, and the game they lost to Montreal, they were right in there without a few mistakes and a missed kick or two. They might have won that game. Here's what I want to ask you, Jay, because I know a lot of people know you, but if people are getting to know you, you played Golden Bears football, you played Wildcats, so you've played at a high level. You're playing a team you just played. Things went pretty well. They had a ton of off. I mean, honestly, I think 35-20 flatters the Stamps. Now you're game planning. If you're the Elks, okay, we do the same thing. They can't stop it. Or, well, now they're expecting this. We got to make a whole bunch of changes.
That's what you would think, but the thinking should be to hammer down, to double down on what worked. Because they can't stop it then. They're not going to be able to adjust and stop it now unless they go and get a completely different roster.
Which are, of course.
But, they were running the ball inside quite well. Better than they were outside. Stick with it. Obviously, they found something up the middle that will work for them. They were throwing the ball to that 10-yard point almost with no effort. Almost like pitch and catch. Stick with that, and guess what happens after that? You open up the Tevin Ford long shot, 70-plus yard touchdown, peace signs flashed. We all know that one. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially in a back-to-back. Doesn't offer you enough time for Calgary to go and totally resurrect their offense and change the game plan drastically, especially given the chess pieces that they're working with. So, yes, game plan, can you change? But you really can't change that much. Edmonton dominated the line of scrimmage. Jake Mayer looked uncomfortable all night, backpedaling throwing off his back foot all day, pardon me. But yeah, I think you just double down on what was working for you and play your game.
And play clean.
Yeah, play your game.
Because Calgary made the bigger mistakes. I mean, second play. I want to ask you this now, and I know the game's a few days old now, but I want to ask you this. How do 2 wide open receivers run into each other like Calgary had on, I think it was their second offensive player of the game? Whose error is that?
It's one of the others. I don't know who.
It's not Mayer. Mayer put the ball where
Mayer was doing
he
his
had a
job.
target in mind.
Receivers should never be remotely close to each other.
So some guy ran
the wrong route.
His pattern was offline.
He ran the wrong route.
Right.
If you see 2 receivers that are within 5 yards of each other, that's troubling.
Right.
Somebody screwed up. Somebody done going to get yelled at.
They're both looking up, so they probably didn't realize they were going to collide. Because you would hope one guy might yell, "No, I got it!"
They don't expect anybody to be there. That
so
would
do you
have been
think
an
when they
interesting...
collided, they thought an Elk player hit them?
Most likely.
And then they look...
And they're like,
oh,
God, you were supposed to have the under route. I was supposed to be the over guy.
Right, because that's the whole thing. You see if there's 2 receivers close to each other, something went wrong offensively.
Yeah,
generally.
Like, offensive receivers are based off of combination routes. Everything's a combination. If one guy's going underneath, there's a guy slipping in over top on a post route. If somebody's stuttering on an outside for a hitch pass, you rest assured somebody's running over top of that towards the sideline.
Yeah.
Everything's complementary in the offensive passing tree.
I don't think I had ever seen that before. Of course, I've seen teammates run into each other. I've seen 2 receivers close to a ball and you're not sure who was the intended receiver. But I don't know on a long pass like that where the ball was high in the air with a lot of loft, two guys both run underneath it and hit each other. And they were open.
Well, I mean,
but it wouldn't differ if there was a third guy in there who was an Elk.
But that was part of the bounces we were talking about that seemingly went Edmonton's way that game, right? That earlier in the year that wouldn't have happened, and somebody would have caught it and ran and scampered.
And that's what I mean. Play clean.
Yes.
So
just do your job.
Do your job.
They've been doing a good job of doing their job.
I mean, they botched the drive in the first quarter where they got the intentional grounding, and then the punt went out of bounds, and Calgary got it in a better position than they would have off a fumble or something. And then Faithful missed the short kick in the third quarter. I know they took penalties, but there wasn't a back-breaking penalty. I guess they took the rough play at the end of the game when it didn't matter, near the end of the game.
Yeah, those are all right.
There wasn't the big mistakes. I mean, how do you win? Make fewer mistakes, make more plays.
That's one recipe for success.
I mean, the big mistakes were Calgary's and the bigger plays were Edmonton's.
Have a defense that holds points. But, Maddie and I talk about it, and we got to get to a break here, but Maddie and I talk about it a lot on the pre and the kickoff game and the post-game show, is the three facets of football: special teams, offense, defense. If two out of those three are operating at above average or just slightly above average, you have a very good chance to win. If all three are clicking, nobody's going to play with you. So that's the things that I watch when I'm watching that game and as I'm watching Elks games, is to see how those three pieces of the team are complementing.
All right, we will get to some of your contributions through the Paris Jewelers inbox and the Nasty Chat. We will get to our goof ups. We had some good ones today. Here's Matt with a sports update.
NFL season's getting set to kick off out in Kansas City as the Chiefs will play host to the Baltimore Ravens. You can watch the game with Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, Fort Road. Kickoff is scheduled for 6:20. With a lot of rain falling right now, and the players have been asked to leave the field due to thunderstorms currently in the area. Austin Mack, he's been placed on the 6-game injured list. The Montreal announced that earlier today. He suffered the injury in practice yesterday. Toronto Blue Jays, they are off today. They'll open up a series in Atlanta tomorrow against the Braves. 4 games already final in the majors. Reds shutting out the Astros 1-0. Twins got past the Rays 4-3. Mariners defeated the Athletics 6-4, while the Diamondbacks fell to the Giants 3-2. Coming up next, it's the final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show on this Thursday. I'm Matt Owanek. You're up to date.
Wake up with the Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen and Lieutenant Eric. Weekday mornings 6 to 9 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Few of us can say that we're over 60 and still hot, but Mr. Mike's Burger can. And to celebrate over 60 years of Mr. Mike's famous burger, you're invited to taste history for only $8.99 at Mike Burger Madness. Savor the original flame-grilled Mike Burger on their signature garlic French loaf for a limited time. Dine-in only price of just $8.99. Sides extra. It's Mr. Mike's Mike Burger Madness, and you'd be mad to miss it. Offer ends September 30th. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Get ready, Edmonton. The moment you've been waiting for is here. It's time to celebrate the best of the best with the Esties, as we honor everything from Edmonton Sports Talk's incredible first year. Join us on September 17th at Metro Cinema for an unforgettable night of excitement, laughter, and recognition. Tickets are just $10. Secure your spot by emailing Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And after the show, let's keep the party going at Hudson's White Ave for the official after party. Mark your calendar, grab your tickets, and get ready to celebrate the best moments of EST. It's the Esties, September 17th.
This is the Monday Night Football song, is it not? For but you're playing it when there's a Sunday night football broadcast on Thursday night.
Matt, this is your thing, right?
I played every theme song.
You played every possible theme song.
This is your what they call the kids call an Easter egg.
No, just my returns.
Is this what you used to do?
This is what I used to do. On the Dave Jamieson show, the intro on every return from break was I had the song. So today I had ESPN, Fox, NFL Network, NBC, CBS Prime, and NFL Films.
Dave Jamieson, good guy. Jeez.
I love the intro music.
I miss Jam.
I love the intro music.
So the game, what was this? When's it supposed to start?
6:20.
6:20. Possibly could be delayed with the thunderstorm.
Players, it sounds from one Raven reporter I follow. He says rain's starting to let up at Arrowhead. But at one point, like it was coming down pretty hard, and the players were asked to clear the field because of lightning and thunder in the area. So I guess it would just depend how much practice or like that warm-up time they need to get it back, or if the NFL will be like, yeah, screw it, go play at 6:20.
Okay, so that's a rematch of the AFC title game won by the Chiefs in January.
Thanks for reminding me.
In Baltimore.
Appreciate it.
Whatever. You're a grown man. Sometimes your favorite team's going to lose a game.
Try being a Washington fan, jackass.
Oh, jeez. All right.
My team deserved that victory.
We've had a very fun afternoon. This has been my favorite show of the three we've had so far.
That's inspiring.
Yesterday's would be in last place because we got knocked off the air for a while, so that automatically puts it in last place. Of course, you can always tune in on YouTube, and you can get it after the fact or go back and watch your favorite part. iHeartRadio. I know if you're already listening, you're thinking, okay, Reid, I'm doing this, but this is how you can help us and tell other people too. Because the one thing I've had while I'm leaving Chet, well, how do I get your new station? Well, first of all, the station's been around for a while, and it's streaming, which quite frankly is how a lot of people were consuming stations like Chet anyway. So iHeartRadio, TuneIn app, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And where do they get the podcasts?
Anywhere they get their podcasts. Like, I don't know most people, but the main two usually are Apple Podcasts and
the
Spotify.
Apple Store?
It's actually Apple Podcast. Now, where it's Apple Music. No, I think it's actual Apple Podcast. I'm an Android guy.
Right.
Or Spotify. If you go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you guys have a show page there. People click there. The links are there.
I just imagine someone going into the physical Apple store.
Right. And looking for the Reid Wilkins
Where do I
show.
get the Reid Wilkins show podcast?
Like it's something you could grab off the shelf.
Oh, that's Nielsen. Oh, no.
No. That's a hangout.
But if people use other podcast apps, they should be able to still get it. It should be going to all of them.
It's interesting. Like, we're obviously in a world now, as we know, with streaming, and it's very much on demand. You asked me... somebody brought up about taking calls or something. I was, because Overtime Open Line, of everything I've ever done, that was the most immediate show I've done. The Oilers have just played a game. We will have live post-game reaction. We will have a former NHL player telling you within a few minutes of the game ending what happened and why. We will, but I was always surprised how many people would say, "Hey, I listened to you and Rob on my lunch break." Or I listen when I get home from work the day after the game. And I would be a little surprised because you would wait 20 hours until after the game to get the post-game react. But yeah, that's how people would consume it. So there's a lot of on-demand stuff. So we probably, right now it's 5:48. Who knows when we have people listening to this? But thank you for checking it out.
Well, as Maddie always says, thank you to the future from the past.
I've started doing that. I've started taking the people in the future.
Well, it's time. It's our form of
We
time
appreciate
travel.
you, future people.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, we've been neglecting I have been neglecting some messages. What are some good ones we have coming in? Nasty chat, Paris Jewelers inbox.
Well, back to our NFL talk. Good time Charlie agreed with me anyhow. Buffalo will have a losing record this year. Extremely hard schedule this season. And I went and looked at it, and its strength of schedule is very tough. And obviously, the strength of schedule for the Oilers, that's something we got to talk about because it is favorable.
Okay.
Food Coma Drew comes in and says, Maddie,
it's a great name.
You can't have someone come in and steal the show. Who does Glue Guy think he is? And then Jen Cool, a regular in the nasty chat. Thank you for listening, Jen. And actually, Christian Beta is a converted Morning Nasty member, now signed on and ready to be an afternoon nasty. So
is that Chris from Phoenix?
No,
that's
this is a different Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Jen Cool in the nasty chat says, and we were discussing about me, if I could take that clip about Jags fan And Jen Cool said, like your approval, and she's talking to you, Matthew, like your approval that Dustin got before taking the hats out of your office. Ooh, I could hear the tone in your voice. You were not happy about that. Care to comment?
Estes votings is now done.
That's your comment?
I just wanted to, that was supposed to be done at 5. That is now officially closed. And the trophies are at my house.
Oh, for the Estes.
They've been dropped off.
Oh, nice.
And you know what? Right now, Penner's Pancakes came in and made a really good comment saying,
not do that.
How about a round of clicks for Matty for working some long
I will say
shifts?"
this. I give Matty a hard time. He is an incredible someday I'll dive into this more deeply. I had my reservations about Matawanak while I was at Ched. He did some things that annoyed me. He knows this, so I'm not. I'm not just dumping this on him spur of the moment. And I said, "Hey, man, why did you do that?" And he explained it, and I'm like, "Okay." But he also understood why, as someone who didn't know him very well at another station, you also understood why I might have taken mild exception to a couple.
Oh,
things
it's in
you
my
did.
mind when I was writing those out.
But plus, you weren't actually going, quote unquote, after me so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
No. Like I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
there.
you're agreeing.
I'm
yes.
agreeing, and
Yeah.
it was more. I wasn't actually trying to go after anyone fully. There was one person,
Yeah.
but
Well,
beyond
maybe
that,
we won't tell the whole story then.
but beyond that, it was just defending my people.
You're a very nice and hardworking man, but I find you a little quirky.
Just a little.
And coming from me, that's something.
Okay, here's a late one that's coming into the Paris Jewelers inbox. Hi, Reid and Maddie. If you could go in there and change the handle of this texture,
you could do it. There's the three little bars.
Yeah,
Click
yeah,
that
yeah.
and it says
Add contact.
Yeah.
Okay,
You just I'm doing that to help you learn.
Yes,
not
thank
to be
you.
a dick,
Thank you.
but
No,
it comes
no.
across as a dick. I'm
Don't
sure.
say that.
Oh, sorry.
Say penis. Hey, Reid, you probably don't remember, but I used to go with the handle Dave Leopard
Yes, I
when
do remember.
texting Inside
Yep.
Sports back when you were at Ched. I always enjoyed listening to you, and I'm pumped. I just found the Reid Wilkins show on YouTube. This is not a joke, folks. I'm watching now, and it's awesome. So happy for both of us about this. Haha, you rock, Dave Leopard.
I do remember Dave Leopard. Thank you. And the one thing, as you guys know, I don't look on Twitter or the text as much because I do get distracted. So thank you for guys, and I'll get better at looking at stuff. But I have seen some messages, and some of my friends have told me a whole bunch of people are asking, are you going to play Def Leppard coming back from commercial and stuff like that? But we can't right now, right?
We need a cover band to write some Def Leppard
Songs that
and
sound like Def Leppard.
we'll
like
skirt it.
Pour Some Milne on Me or
Pour some
Photomatty.
Milne on me.
Yeah. But we can't play commercial music.
I'd like that.
At the moment, no.
Or depending on, yeah.
No, unless that we'd have to have rights from them.
Right. So
And
we can't roll out the same
I
type
don't know
of
Def
music.
Leppard at the moment.
Pour some Milne on me.
Pour some
Wow.
Milne. But if somebody wrote, and we want someone to do this, email the MP3 to business at Edmonton Sports. Like if you could write a 70-second sound-alike for Def Leppard, like it sounds like them, but the lyrics and music is a little different, then you might get on the show.
There's a person that does this
would
on the
be
morning show. We need to find our afternoon show.
Yeah, we need to find
And
our
as Ross
afternoon
Creek Nasty says, PM Nasty.
Is that that's RCN, right?
RCN.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he used to write all the time.
Legend.
Yeah.
Met him at the Nasty Bash.
That's
Great guy.
fun. Well, it's fun that some people have jumped over and are listening to me here. I appreciate that. So I will take tonight Chiefs 45, Ravens 3.
I think that's highly improbable.
Like,
I don't know.
He doesn't even react.
It's a 3-point spread, right?
Oh, I didn't know if you were trying to get me to react or not.
Well, I just picked your favorite team to lose by 42 points in the season.
Yeah, but I don't care about predictions.
Okay,
Last
here, I'm
year,
going to
the
do another
Lions
one.
went in and won
I
the
don't
first
care
game
about
of the
predictions.
season.
Because here's the thing, Reid. I don't do predictions.
Murr the Stamps guy. Do you remember him? Murr the
yes,
Stamps
'cause-
guy?
and then during hockey, he'd be Murr the Flames guy.
Okay, Murr the Stamps guy. Great to hear you again, Reid. I'm Murr the Stamps guy. Now you're saved as Murr the Stamps guy. So if you guys are coming over and finding Reid here, do me a favor, because I'm going to upload all these contacts as they come in. Instead of it just being your phone number, now I know it's Dave
We'll
Leppard.
give you a handle, so
now
it
I know
always
it's
comes
Murr
up.
the Stamps guy. We like to do that because we like to shout you guys out when you're supporting us and being involved in the show. Reid, I think it's about time we get to some...
I got to do one thing. Somebody wants to know my favorite Def Leppard song. It would be Pour Some Sugar on Me. I know that's generic, but I do think it's their best, most well-crafted, most hooky song.
Okay, I'm going to add that to your screw up or your goof up because it's actually Pour Some Milne on Me. Maybe you and I should write that or record that at a karaoke bar.
We're looking for, by the way, we're looking for a sponsor for Goof Ups.
Yeah.
We'd love to have your company involved with that. I made a big one. I went off script a lot today.
Kind of.
So we did all we were doing NFL predictions, and we picked our 14 playoff teams, and then I just moved on. We didn't give you our Super Bowl picks. We were supposed to do that all together. It wasn't some let's leave suspense and do it to the end of the show. No! So we will do our Super Bowl picks now. I am going to be unoriginal and pick Kansas City to win again because I think they're that good. I think they'll three-peat, and I will take Kansas City to beat the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh.
You're not agreeing with me.
No, I'm not. Look what mine says. We did not talk about this. No. I'm taking Detroit to beat Kansas City.
Oh, do you have the same teams, though?
I wrote it down.
You have the Lions, who have never won the Super Bowl, or they haven't even been in it, right? They were bad for a long time. All right. So we both have...
Construction Curtis comes in. Save the contact, glue guy. Done, Construction Curtis.
Oh, cool.
This is great.
Hey, Curtis.
Construction Curtis.
So, Matt, you're refusing to make a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who do you think?
One team from the AFC or one team from the NFC is going to defeat the other team from the AFC, NFC. I won't say one.
No.
I don't do it.
Have you ever made a prediction about anything?
I stopped doing predictions.
Why?
I stopped. Actually, you nailed most of it. It's people just get mad for them, so I stopped doing it. People get mad enough for me for enough things, so I don't need more. So I stopped doing the predictions.
All right.
Now where I'll go with a team from the AFC or NFC will defeat the team from the AFC
the
or
other
NFC.
conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
I screwed up today. I said that they met in Kansas City for the divisional playoff game, but it was actually in...
No, it was the AFC title game.
The AFC title game in Baltimore.
But the Chiefs won. That was the story with the Chiefs last year is they didn't have home field through the playoffs. They had the first game at home. Then they went to Buffalo. And then they went to Baltimore.
It was the T-Swift tour.
Apparently she's at the game.
She's going to be in a lot of games.
Oh, of course she is. It's a season opener. You wouldn't miss it.
The NFL kind of planned their schedule around her tour.
Oh, could you imagine?
They did.
Oh, they did.
Apparently, by counts, they looked at her schedule, and that's how they planned a little bit of the Chiefs games. KC's in Buffalo the weekend or whatever. She's in Toronto, and she's got a night off that Sunday.
The text number, just for those asking, because Construction Curtis, yes, we can see the pictures you text in. Appears to still be at work doing some really nice landscaping work. But the text number to get involved is 780-218-9999.
But he's texting.
That's fine.
But he already knows the number.
No. This is a different guy.
Oh.
Sorry. I mean, come on, Reid. I thought you were telepathic.
Why is he texting the text line to ask for the text number?
Oh, Dave Leppard says, thanks for the shout out. I'm actually in a cover band. I'll see what I can do about a Def Leppard sounding clip for you guys.
That would be amazing.
He says, my fave Def Leppard tune is Animal, by the way.
Yeah, I love Animal. Well, again, people coming over.
Pour some Milne on it. Make it happen.
I've named two dogs after Def Leppard songs. I had a dog named Animal, and I currently have a dog named Rocket, who is over 18 years of age. I'll probably go watch the game with him tonight. Matt, did you goof up?
Both on this show and afternoons. I keep forgetting to flip over the studio sponsor.
Yes.
But it's up there now.
That did say William.
Yeah, but like for the start of this show, it said William Huff Studio sponsorship.
And then for the start of the old one, it said Popeyes.
Yeah. I'm not clicking this remote and changing it in time.
Okay.
It's okay, man.
We survived.
Well, Jay Kurek told me about it yesterday, and I did it yesterday, and then I made the mistake twice today. You don't make if you make the mistake once, that's okay. Multiple times, that's a failure.
All right. Tomorrow, we will learn more about deferred payments for NHL contracts. Could it help the Oilers going forward? Rod Smith will join us, TSN broadcasting legend. Coming up on Edmonton Sports Talk, the Turf District podcast. They're going to have Elks defensive back Devodrick Bynum as one of their guests, and they're going to do their tailgate menu for Saturday. Thanks to Matt Awanek for his technical producing work today. He's Jay. I'm Reid. Thanks for listening.
Edmonton Sports Talk delivers a mass audience of key, influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.